and staying alive. All that I feel is a fire inside. I have outrun it. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. This is my time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
Just before nightfall, it is dusk, and we are getting ready for the trucks tonight at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway in St. Louis, Missouri. Round number 12. Good evening. I am Wesley Outland, joined alongside is Samuel Dyer in the production truck, as always. Manning the buttons for Rocket Media and LSRTV iRacing coverage is Charles Wooten. Samuel, we got a great race here tonight. The Cup Series offered an exciting race here at Gateway. We're going to see the same here for the trucks, and I think maybe even better.
Yeah, we're hoping for a better showing here tonight, especially on the way that we saw those Cup machines struggling to get off the corners. These trucks heard a very similar story throughout the garage, and hearing drivers stating this is going to be a tough track overall, but certainly should be a fun one to watch all these drivers tackling tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Mainly, Wesley, I'm just excited to see who's going to get the bumper, because that is going to be the main thing to watch here tonight on who's going to be willing to be aggressive at the end of tonight.
So you talk to the realist of NASCAR, you talk about people here in iRacing, and they always say that this track has a little bit of everything. You think of Martinsville for the straightaways, the paper clips. You think about the turns, unique to either Richmond or Darlington or Phoenix. Just some of the analogies of the description of this racetrack. Even Darlington comes to play. These are very, very unique corners. No corner is the same here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And of course, that slingshot off the Geico restart zone down the straightaway. We could possibly see a Hail Mary pass, if you will, for somebody to try to get a victory here tonight, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly should be something where these drivers, they've had to figure out all the different ways to tackle this course. I know I've been stating it as this track, in my eyes, is a flat Darlington, the egg-shaped course, on the fact that one side of this track, a much wider corner that you're dealing with, that entry of turn in one and two, certainly the much tighter aspect of this course. The drivers are going to be dive bombing, trying to go for some passes. But those different, changes and aspects of this racetrack is what makes it so unique and so fun to watch. And for these drivers, a challenge for almost every season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's take a look at the race information calendar for tonight here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's going to be 160 laps. That's 200 miles around here at the just over mile Worldwide Technology Raceway. One fast repair given. If a driver gets torn up in the early going or at the end, they have the opportunity to get that mulligan, if you will. 2 green-white checker overtime attempts if need be. And, of course, race sim time today is May 26, 2022, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, or actually Central. They're in Central time zone. And actually, it's 100% fuel load. 4 sets of tires. That is the 3 sets in the pit area, as well as the set the drivers start on. And by the way, that's all presented by LiveSimRacing.com. Weather conditions, we're going to give you the nighttime conditions because this race is going to be under the lights. Overcast conditions as nightfall settles in. The lights are illuminated around Worldwide Technology Raceway. 83 degrees the ambient temperature. Track tip the same, around 84. Wind speed comfortable at 6-7 miles an hour now. And Samuel, we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, we're not really going to be worried about a lot of downforce with the wind speeds down the back straightaway or the front tonight.
Yeah, winds might fluctuate, 1 or 2 miles per hour. Same could be said for that of the ambient and also that of the track temp, is that it's only going to be fluctuating maybe 1 or 2 degrees. These drivers are going to be having a very pristine track, a lot of grip to be grabbed out there, and certainly I know all these drivers, they're going to be loving the fact that it's not scorching hot where they're going to be wiggling all over the place. It's not too cold on the fact that they will have to take too many laps to warm up these tires.
So again, this is round number 12 here tonight for the drivers of the Northwest Racing Series Truck Division in season number 9. And while we do that, let's also give you a quick rundown of the point standings real fast. But first, the keys to victory with Samuel Dyer. What's it going to take to get to victory lane here tonight, Samuel, at Worldwide Technology Raceway?
Yeah, the big thing that could happen here is last season, there were only 4 yellows, so these drivers got to be perfect if we do get into a longer run here tonight of good green flag pit stops. Don't want to be caught with making mistakes of going, speeding into pit road or sliding through your box. That's going to be the first key for these drivers. The other one, do not overdrive this truck into the corners or even onto the exit. Into the corners, you're going to be burning off a lot of that front right tire. And on the exit, if you get on the throttle too soon, too quickly, you can spin out the rear tires or even burn up that rear right tire. The right side of the tire is going to be a big focus for these drivers. But the main thing, key number 3, keep a cool head, keep calm. Do not overdrive here tonight. Keep it clean and race the racetrack. It will come to you as the night goes on, and just make sure you're smooth and you're there at the end.
And those are the keys to victory with our colleague Samuel Dyer here in the broadcast booth for iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Notable entries to keep an eye on here tonight. Obviously, Jeff Stabnow. Could tonight be the night for him to win? The 2-time defending series champion, Dan West Jr. Obviously, he is looking to get off that roller coaster ride, if you will, for the driver of Dan West Jr. and look for that first win on the season for the 2-time defending series champion out of Shelton, Washington. One of the Beaver State drivers, Dennis Moore. He's going to be somebody you got to keep an eye on as well. Dennis Moore comfortably in the points lead with 1 win on the year. He's got a 7-point lead over Cole Raz. We'll go over the points in just a moment. And then, of course, the Cup Series defending champion in the number 6, Chris White. That's a driver that's had some success here in the past. Just some of the notable drivers we'll keep an eye on. And by the way, their numbers are 24 for Stabnow, 55 for West, 44 for Moore, and 6, Samuel, for Chris White.
Yeah, and all 4 of these drivers certainly have strong aspirations here tonight. Really want to turn the corner and find some good speed. I know for Dennis Moore, just because he's our points leader, you got to always watch out for that 44 machine. Chris White, though, watch out for the 6. He might be a little sneaky speedy at the end of this race. It's a flat tracks. Usually is when we find that 6 being so strong. Just watch out for him late in this race.
So we are just getting started. When we come back, we'll give you some updates on qualifying, look at the point standings, and more from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM, and we are CRN.com. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outland, and for the 2nd year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play. Check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSR-TV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too. broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Back here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and again, we welcome you to coverage of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outlet alongside. We're going to see what these drivers can do here tonight, as actually they are gridded. It is time to introduce the starting lineup here, presented by LSRTV, as it looks like close to 25 entries are ready for the go. It's Ryan Bloom on the pole, the 2021 ARCA champion, and Caden Anderson from Yakima, Washington alongside in 37. Row 2 will find Stephen O'Hare, one of the Beaver State Racing drivers in 41, and Dan Lowther in the 63. Row 3 tonight will find Dennis Moore, the points leader, with a 7-point lead over Cole Raz. Ironically, he is right there alongside in the 10. Row 4, Paul Newton, couple of wins on the road courses this year, and could tonight be the night to end a almost 2-year drought for Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana in 24. And to run out the top 10. 2 wins already on the year for Hermiston, Washington's Kevin Smith, and Tyler King in 21. Keep an eye on him. He'll start 10th.
Then in row number 6, you got Dylan Huffines in the 20, going to be on the outside of Daytona winner of the 89 of John Ottenbacher. Row number 7, going to bring Bug Eyes Aaron Cooper in the 71, with Chris White, one of our notable drivers, going to be on the outside of row number 7. Row 8, it's Angel Ortega as well as Toby Ritter's fan favorite, that 23. We'll see if he can carve his way through this field. Back in row number 9, we find ourselves with that of Ryan Reynolds. He will not be hitting the course, but his gridded up is going to be the 9 of Lake Peterson. He just wanted to check out what the competition was like. And then back in row number 10, it's going to be James Vining of the 333 and Ron Hunter finishing out your top 10 rows, with that of Bj Tedrick going to be starting out row number 11. Carl Burke going to be in 53 machine, as well as finishing out row number 12 in these last couple of rows. It's Frank Harris as well as Troy Daggett in the 51. Then it's Tyler Kim and Chris Camary finishing out your 26 drivers here tonight.
Yeah, that is the starting lineup as these drivers get ready to go here. Preliminary lap underway. The lights will be off on the pace car. 26 drivers. Of course, we're waiting for Peterson and Vining to jump in. We get ready to go for this race. Of course, again, the distance tonight, 150 laps, just shy of 200 miles. I'm digging the new wrap job on Ryan Bloom's truck. What do you think of that there, Samuel? Broncos.
Yeah, that Broncos looks like the Boise State Broncos is on that 25. He's going to be someone to watch out for sure with the big B.
Ready to go. Lights off on the pace car. Strategy, get in front, tuck in line, knock off some laps. Let's not have a demo derby right out of the get-go. Round number 12 of the Northwest iRacing Truck Series ready to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Green flag goes in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. It's Bloom on the jump, Anderson up on the outside, and O'Hare right there with also Lowther, the top 4 going to turn 1.
And looking good for that again. Anderson, the outside lane, going to be something to watch out for. A little bit of bump shoving down. Going to be seeing these drivers hoping to hold on to that for Stephen O'Hare. Luckily didn't go down in the inside grass, but some drivers further back did. Angel Ortega into the grass for that 68.
Problems for the RacePie.com entry Chevrolet. He loses ground from the pack, but no caution flag as his Chevrolet now picks up speed going to turn number 3. The leaders are off turn 4. Down the front straightaway. Problems for Kevin Smith, though. He's off the pace. Whatever happened, he's losing ground with everybody as they go into turn 1.
Big thing, talked about it, exit of the corners. These drivers can get extremely loose, even on these really cold tires that they're trying to warm up, and already have seen about 6 drivers have their issues to go up. Kevin Smith, one of those. Also Angel Ortega, Ryan Reynolds, also many others of Toby Ritter's as well have got their major issues, and they're hoping to clean this up. But there's some strong drivers that are already feeling the struggles of Gateway.
Anderson out in front there. You see now Cole Raz. He's in the 6th position. Behind him, Paul Newton, Jeff Stabnow. sizing each other up. Also in the conga line is going to be Ryan King and Dylan Huffines in the yellow and red number 20. That goes on to the top 10 as they go into turn number 3.
Got to be looking strong for the 27, Paul Newton. He's got the best momentum after getting his win at Sonoma, the last race of these drivers ran 2 weeks ago, and continuing to try to keep with this consistency. Has been some very strong top 10 runs all season long for the 27, but it's Jeff Stab now, one of our notable drivers. He needs to turn this season around, and he is being pressured and hounded by the Beaver State racer of the 21 of Tyler King.
As Jeff Sabb now up on the outside lane, King will follow. Duffines right there with him. In the early going, couple of hiccups, but so far, no yellow flag in this event. As there's Paul Newton now, making a room up on the outside lane. Coming now is Stab now on the bottom. King now drifts up to the outside lane. King will cross over back to the inside. They'll work their way across the start-finish line. 4 laps completed. This battle continues in the top 10 in turn number 1.
And you're seeing right now, Dylan Huffines, a driver that doesn't have very many starts, but that 20 Ghost Energy machine is certainly starting to make his groove forward in the top 10. Another driver that's on the move, battling back and forth on positioning as we ride on board with the 10. Cole Raz, the most Waynish driver so far this season. This 10, trying to go for a launch. And this was one thing I was curious about. You saw the gears change. 4th, down to 3rd, back up into 4th. How many drivers are really feeling comfortable with the gear changes? You've got to be careful, especially if you're going to be willing to change your gears. Just make sure you don't shift too soon, or you can see that rear end get kicked around.
Got to have that patience, if you will, as this race is just getting started. Nightfall will become darkness when this race ends, as the lights are on here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, just south of St. Louis, Missouri, in Madison, Illinois, the land of Lincoln. As they work off of turn number 4, it's Anderson by about a half a truck length. Lowther bobs off the corner through the Geico restart zone. He was fishtailing the truck. He lost ground from 1st and 2nd, but still the 3rd and 1.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, for that of Dan Lowther, he's got to be careful not to be doing that too many times. If he gets into too many issues, could be hurting him on the long run, where a lot of these drivers are hoping that they have that strength. And watch out for the Beaver State Racing drivers. Stephen O'Hare, Dennis Moore, Tyler King. They're all inside of the top 10, but you know Beaver State's the strongest when you get into those 40, 60 lap runs at these tracks. And if we can stay green, they're going to be the drivers to watch out for. Katie Anderson, I think he might be recognizing, I got to be patient and make sure I've got tires when we start to see Beaver State striking forward.
So Stephen O'Hare thought about peeking down on the inside on Lowther, and we do have a yellow flag. Caution is out. I think it's Kevin Smith. Problems, yes it is, for the Hermiston, Washington Click It RV 00. 2 wins on the year, and the yellow flag will come out for the 00 of Kevin Smith down the front straightaway. And here's our replay here of what happened. He's right alongside Carl Burke, Bj Tedrick in front of him. And we watch what happens as he dives down to the corner, Samuel, into 3 and 4. That's 3 trucks, and 1 came out. 2 came out good. 1 got the short end of the stick, if you will.
Yeah, a little bit of deja vu for the 00. Gets the contact into Burke and then into the inside wall. Heavy damage. Too much damage for that of Kevin Smith. Had to take the tow. Required damage. He'll be in pit road for quite a long time. Could be up to 5 laps down by the time the 00 gets back out on track. Still has a fast repair to be utilized, so we'll see if he uses it here early. 2 other drivers have already used their fast repairs, Toby Ritters and also Brian Reynolds, who came into pit road during green flag running. So both the 23 and the 12, 1 lap down. They hope to get a lap back at some point. But Wesley, Kevin Smith, that's the 2nd time that he's gotten high into the exit of turn 4. You already saw the damage before he made contact with Burke, and for Kevin Smith, even if he gets back out on track, he's got to fix that exit out of 4.
And that's something that also we need to keep an eye on. Obviously, Carl Burke in the 53 truck was able to continue along, but you got to wonder how much damage might be on the front end of that 53 for the legend after he had Kevin Smith almost T-boning each other down the front straightaway for at least a short while when he got him into the wall in the Geico restart zone. So, first yellow flag of the race. We going to play over under tonight, Samuel? What are you picking for caution flags?
I would probably go with around 6 to 8. I think I'm going to stick with that of 8 cautions. Most likely could be seen here tonight, but at the same time, it could be less than that, or it could be more. It matters on how aggressive these drivers want to be going for.
you're going to pick 8. I'm going to go to the under, and I'll pick 6. So we still say 8-6, so we'll keep those numbers in play there. So you say 8, I'll say 6, and that's the first caution of the race.
I also want to give note for drivers into pit road. You talked about Carl Burke. If he was going to come into pit road, he did come in getting damage repair. He was in pit road for about 30 seconds in his box for optional damage, as well as Angel Ortega and also Bj Tedrick racing off of pit road, as well as another driver, that of Troy Daggett, coming in just topping off for that of the 51. So a bunch of drivers this go around deciding to come into pit road, get some service, either fuel, damage repair, or get ready to go green once again, as the drivers expecting to get that one to go.
So, Samuel, mind you, Carl Burke came down onto the pits to try to repair some of that front end damage, but he's not used the fast repair just yet.
No, and yes, the straightaways here are quite long, but it is considered that in intermediate range of, it's not a mile and a half, but it's not a mile in length. So it reacts in the corners like a short track. The straightaways, certainly you don't want to have that front end damage, but if you're still running at full power, even if you got a little bit of aero damage, you still can compete with everyone around you. I feel like that's why Carl Burke is feeling like, still at full power, let's not waste my, fast repair this early on in the race.
And the lights are still on the pace car. Round 12 here tonight at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And we mentioned the points, and then obviously when we came back from timeout, man, the grid was set. They were ready to go. Dennis Moore, Samuel, has the points lead. 7-point lead over Cole Raz, who has 3 wins on the year. Dennis with 1 win. Caden Anderson is currently 57 back in third with a 4 wins. I'm sorry, 4 poles, no wins for the driver of Caden Anderson. So he's looking for that first win of the year. John Audenbacher has 1 win. 87 points back in the top 5. Also Sean Brightsman with no wins. Ryan Bloom, pole truck to the race tonight. Paul Newton, who won obviously at the road course event a couple of weeks ago, followed by Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., and Kenneth Garber right now. Your top 10 of the points. Cole Raz with 3 wins. But I'll tell you what, though, Samuel, it's kind of the Brian Barnes effect in the Cup that Dennis Moore's doing. He only has 1 win on the year, but he's being consistent and racking up those points to stay in the #1 spot.
Yeah, and also just want to give notes. The points that we're talking about are based off the overall points of all races, but there will be a 2-race drop week at the end of the season. So when we're talking about these points, there will be drop weeks that will be changing up who the actual points leader is. So these drivers, certainly, there are a lot of them that are trying to go with that consistent route, but if the drop weeks were implemented in, Cole Raz would be the points leader going into these races, as we're stacked up and ready to go.
And looking for another great round of racing next week, mind you, as the series will prepare for Cup and Truck to make the trip to Nashville Super Speedway. That'll be a fun one coming up in next week. Join us. And then we're off for 4th of July, coming back for COTA. And we're ready for the restart. Green flag back in the air. And Caden Anderson inside, back in the Geico restart zone. A big jump over the field. Pole truck Bloom falls back to second. Lowther and O'Hare battle along with Raz, top 5 and 1.
As drivers, a little bit of contact from the 10 on the rear end of the 41. Out of the corner, big thing for these drivers, just be patient. Yes, Caden Anderson's taking off, but you're seeing the side-by-side for second place. Bloom under fire from Lowther.
Boy, he sent it in there and deep. Lowther trying to go after a 3-truck special, if you will. He's cleared by the machine of O'Hare. Raz, he's now going after Lowther, and they ran him back down. There's contact. Bloom got into the right rear quarter panel of the truck. They save it, but losing ground off the paces. Bloom, they hold it together into 1.
Yeah, it's going to be that of Cole Raz, who got a good nick on himself, as well as Ryan Bloom, and they're going to continue to fade back. So for those drivers, they've got to be slightly concerned on the fact that they continue to falter into the big group. It's Frank Harris, front end damage for the 11, and they're starting to go 2, almost 3 wide back here in the middle of the pack.
Working up on a turn number 3 and 4. Off the corner. There you see the pole truck of Ryan Bloom now being passed by points leader Dennis Moore. While that goes on, Huff finds after Stab now after O'Hare. That's in turn number 2.
Yeah, and these drivers right now up front, this lead half of the pack, they're playing a little bit nicer than the back half of the group, where we might see a yellow come out. But for that, Jeff Stab now up to 8th, Gotta be loving the fact that he's keeping it clean, but here comes Paul Newton really throwing it down underneath that of Huffines.
Yeah, reeling him in and trying to make a diving run there as Paul Newton coming off of that truck win a couple of weeks ago for the series, of course, at Sonoma Raceway back on June the 2nd. As the field works their way back into the corner, he's now going to try to make a move on Dylan Huffines. Dilly up on the outside. He's a part of the truck tailgate of Stab now. That goes on off too.
And also you see that of the yellow and black, the 6th machine of Chris White. He's just at the tail end of this group. I'm loving the fact that we're seeing Chris White. He's up 3 positions from where he qualified, one of our bigger movers of those that are just inside of our top 12. Doing a great job for himself as we watch the gearing of how Chris White wants to attack this course. We've seen the aggressiveness of Cole Raz as well as a couple of other drivers willing to shift down into 3rd gear into these corners. See Chris White, he's as well feel like you need to shift down if you want to get that better launch out of the corner.
Gotta hold it together, if you will, and there's Chris White. Willie's Addictive Barbecue, number 6. The new spot, we'll just give him some love to Mr. Willie. Chris White has met him a couple of weeks ago in Washington. And there you see now, Huffines, size it up, Stab now. Ghost Energy, Chevrolet in the middle. That's the yellow and red machine after the machine of Jeff Stab now on the inside. Coming after Bloom, that's for 7th and 8th off 2.
And you can tell Ryan Bloom, who got the contact in the wall as well as contact with other drivers, really has been having some major issues on keeping the speed. He's fallen back to 7th when he was in 2nd. He's got to be careful to lose even more positions for this 25 as he is really off the speed, but doing everything in his power to try to keep up on the speed into these corners. And got to say for Ryan Bloom, once again, another race where he qualifies well, but misfortunes tack onto this 25.
18 laps completed now, working lap 19 on the back tailgate of Ryan Bloom from the rear deck lid. Jeff Stab now. Looking outside, looking inside. Right up under him is also Paul Newton. That goes on to that 3rd turn. Dilly. Huffines up on the outside lane as well. This goes on for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th off turn number 4 as they work down the straightaway. They fan back out single file. Hold on to that spot with Anderson up in front. This battle goes on, but Stab now looking around. Bloom in 1.
Ryan Bloom, the damage just too much, and he has to go high and could be losing even more than 1 position. Paul Newton gets a good launch out of the corner, and this 25 machine just limping his way, needing another yellow to try to get some repairs or even come in and talk about a caution. It comes out. Wreck going to be happening further back in the field.
Caution, that's going to be Bug Eyes, Mr. Aaron Cooper in the WWLD Chevrolet Toyota going around, and the caution will come out. 2nd one of the race. Remember, the over-under is 8 for Samuel, 6 for me. And here is a replay now of what happened to Aaron Cooper in the 71. He was in the 19th spot. Watch this. Oh, wow, Samuel. Kevin Smith kind of helped him there.
And then also Bj Tedrick, Ron Hunter comes in late. A lot of hits going to be happening there, but you kind of saw on that replay on the entry of the corner, Aaron Cooper went up, gave an opening for the 00, but very difficult on trying to just keep staying down low. And it's, you know, with the fact that turns 1 and 2, it's the narrow part of this track. Drivers can have a hard time of trying to stay low, close to the grass, close to the rumble strips through the corners. And you saw there, wasn't able to hold that line, drifted up just a little bit, and that is Smith. And also Cooper made contact.
Samuel, we're 20 laps into this race of 160. Still got 140 laps to go, 60 to halfway. Do we see anybody pit yet? I'm thinking no.
Well, there's a couple of drivers that are coming in just for damage repair. I'm looking at, you know, the majority of the drivers, all that have had some type of major damage. The one that I'm kind of surprised about, going to be Dylan Huffines that came into pit road for the 20. Looks like he's just coming in for topping off on fuel and getting back out there. Majority of the drivers that came in, though, they're going to be thinking about using a fast repair if you're heavily damaged, or just topping off or getting damage repair. Ryan Bloom also coming into pit road this go around. That of going to be Aaron Cooper came in and used a fast repair after this most recent incident, as well as Angel Ortega, Bj Tedrick, and going to be coming in and just going for damage repair for themselves. Ron Hunter as well, damage repair, and Kevin Smith involved as well for damage repair, as majority of the drivers further back, such as Ron Hunter, Kevin Smith, they'd already used their fast repairs, so they have to come into pit road.
And right now, of the 26 entrants, 24 took the green flag, and able to get the green was Lake Peterson of the 9 and James Vining in the 333. And right now there is 19 trucks on the lead lap. Frank Harris on the tail end at 1 lap down. He might take the wave around at 1 to go and try to get one of those laps back, as we are on lap number 22 of 160. It's Caden Anderson leading the way. Dan Lowther second, Cole Raz, Tyler King, and Stephen O'Hare, your top 5. We're going to pause for network identification on the Community Radio Network. This is iRacing on LSRTV. We're back from Worldwide Technology Raceway in just a moment.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
And remember, effective July 1st, 87.5 FM will become 87.9 FM, the new CRN. We're looking forward to that. A lot of cool things on the horizon. And we're going to stay right here with you with also coverage of the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, as Caden Anderson is still the man out in front. And Samuel, if I remember correctly, Caden Anderson coming off of a win in the Cup race on Monday night as well.
Did he come off a win on Monday?
Or was that Cole Raz? It might have been Cole Raz.
I'll be honest, did not watch the end of that race. I watched a little bit here or there, didn't watch the end.
That's right. Justin was in the booth. Samuel, you're looking now, because remember we're at Nashville Super Speedway, and yes, my apologies. It was the other super friend of Cole Raz, Caden Anderson, right there with him, 1 and 2. So that was the race this past Monday night. So Cole Raz picking up the victory, doing what he needs to do in the Cup and the Truck Series. And again, Samuel, he's only got a 7-point lead per the reset, as you mentioned. Right now in the overall point standings, and Cole Raz right there in the hunt of things, currently in 3rd as we get ready for a restart.
Yeah, I mean, Cole Raz, I was looking at last season and compared it to this season. This certainly is going to be a season of trying to get redemption. He missed out on making it into the playoffs just because he didn't make enough races. This go around, it has been just a tear for Cole Raz in the 10. And Caden Anderson kind of been left in the shadows at moments when it comes to the end of the races, but certainly beginning, middle, it's always been the 37 up front dominating, but there's always a mistake that happens, Wesley. When will it strike here tonight?
And Samuel, you remember Raz told us he was kicking himself whenever he couldn't get enough points to make a run for the playoff for a points championship, as Super Friends take the green flag of the Geico restart zone. Anderson, Raz, Lowther, King, O'Hare back off into turn number 1 on lap number 24.
Dan Lowther, watch out for King. Lowther's been out of the corner of turn 2, loose every time, and there he goes again. Loose out of the corner, and for King, luckily he backed off, gave room to the 63, because that could have been a big one.
No harm, no foul, give and take given there. A little more give than take, and they respected one another. They worked their way back off the corner. The Skagla traffic continues in the top 10, led by Moore. Moore, the points leader. There goes O'Hare. Battles also. Stab now. Newton. That goes on into turn number 1 on lap 25.
And right now, Paul Newton's really made that outside lane work for himself. If he can get a good run, might try to force it 3 wide, but just not close enough on the back bumper of that of O'Hare. But just that now. Big thing for himself. The exit of turn 2. If you're not completely clear, that outer lane driver is always going to come marching right on back. This is the frustrating part of Gateway, is when you're stuck side by side, if you cannot make the pass cleanly immediately, you could be stuck like this for 4 to 5 laps.
Yeah, you got to definitely keep an eye on that and watch yourself in that position, because if they're not careful, Samuel, when they start battling with that position going on, but now trying to get around O'Hare, but also Newton and Stab now battling for that spot, you're also letting Chris White run them down. Troy Daggett also making a run with the top 10. They're single file back to 3.
And this is the battling that's going on for 3rd place. That of Tyler King as well as Dan Lowther. Lowther, once again, great, strong qualifying run for the 63, but gets a little bit of damage and then starts to not have that long run speed and starts to feel the wear and tear, and everyone else around up swarms. And for Dan Lowther, he's got to be careful. That is too high of a run, but he certainly is going to try to make it work on the exit 2.
Turn 2. Here comes Moore. Beaver State Moore Speed Chevrolet down to the inside. On the outside lane, the Ford of Dan Lowther. They still stay side by side. O'Hare, nowhere to go. Newton will follow along with Stab now in white single file. Now they get some more battle off of turn 4 coming to the line. Then they fan back out single file. Samuel Dyer, they had no choices. We approach 30 laps in at Worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Lowther had to force the issue there in front of Stephen O'Hare. Just, if he did not put his bumper in front of that 41, he was going to lose another position or more, as O'Hare gets loose at it 2, and he'll have to back off and reset for the next couple of laps here. And, you know, just one little misstep could cost so much time here at Gateway. And that's why these drivers, that was the main focus. If you were going to win here tonight, it was key number 2. Do not mess up the exit of these corners. You saw a little bit of simul mess ups, but it works out for Newton. Doesn't so much for Lowther.
Yeah, it's something we'll keep an eye on as we watch these drivers working their way back across start finish, with this now up on the inside. Newton, Lowther wiggles off the second corner. He has the shower of sparks come from the chassis. And all the while, we watch now, Stab now, and O'Hare. They battle. That's for 7th into 3.
And no surprise, starting to see Stephen O'Hare. He's been struggling on the longer runs. Much more preferred at that of the mile-and-a-half courses. It's just Stab now really working the exit of that corner. But this is the battling that I'm more concerned about. We're seeing side-by-side battling action for that of 5th place as well, for the battling for 7th. But at the exit of the corner for the driver that's on the inside, that outside driver gets loose like Lowther does, and it hits that outside wall. They easily can ricochet and come right back down into you. So at all times, you got to trust, believe that the drivers around you aren't going to make any mistakes.
And Newton will arc up now in front of Lowther as he clears by Stab now and O'Hare by about a half a truck length. They wiggle off of turn number 4. You're on board now with Dan Lowther. He's in that 6th position. He's trying to go back after Paul Newton, the Sonoma winner, back to turn number 1.
And as we're watching this, a driver that's falling backwards, he was moving forwards, almost made the pass for 2nd place. Tyler King falls back to 4th on our tickers. We're right now on board with Dan Lowther and getting the sense of how the 63 wants to attack. He's just losing ground. The big thing for these drivers is you don't want to be too aggressive into these corners. Be patient, be smooth. The tires will come to you, and that long run speed is what's going to carry you to a great finish. Worry about being aggressive once we get to those final 25 laps, but we are still over 128 laps to go in this race, Wesley. A lot of time to be making mistakes.
I'll tell you what, Samuel, and Dan Lowther has lost the handling on that truck. You see now Jeff Stab now reeling him in down the back straightaway like bait on a hook on the inside. He will clear by Lowther. Lowther's truck just seems like it's getting really loose on the tiny exit of the corner.
I mean, he's been really loose on the exit of the corner since the drop of the green. It has been the fact that he's been so aggressive on the entry that's enabled the 63 to at least stay up front in these first 30 laps. But you're starting to see the fact that it's not sticking as well as it used to. He can't get as low into the entry of the corners. He has to drift so high up and do what we call a diamond turn, where you're at the apex of the corner, the center point. You go all the way up, and then you drive down. You try to get straight as soon as possible to make the straightaway longer, but it's not the way you want to be running. You're a Gateway, you want to be smooth, and carry the momentum down low. That's the shortest way around this track and the fastest way to carry this momentum as the battle for 2nd is on. As the battle for 2nd, this of Cole Raz, Dennis Moore, gonna be a little bit of wiggle from the 10, giving an opportunity for the 44 machine as Dennis Moore, been patient, talked about it. Once you get to that 40 to 60 lap window into a run, watch out for the grip as Dennis Moore almost brushing the 10 on the entry of turns 3, exit of 4. They're gonna be side by side. Raz making a little bit of a shimmy, and it's on. Beaver State Racing bump drafting on the front stretch into turn 1. Dennis Moore, great speed. Will he make contact again? He does, brushing the 10. King's got to whoa up. Here comes Paul Newton on the exit of turn 2. As we have lost Wesley, we hope to have him back, but it's going to be up front. Kane Anderson over a second lead over that of Cole Raz. Raz holds on from the aggressive battling from Dennis Moore and Tyler King. They'll reset, give it another go, and the tires just being used up so much here. Go down into turn number 1. Start a lap 37. Kane Anderson's feeling strong, but it's Cole Raz, his teammate, that's under all the pressure now.
Well, we're going to watch this, Samuel, as right now we are working the laps on lap number 36. We're closing in now on lap number 37, and as you mentioned, there is still a lot of racing here. A lot of racing left to go, a lot of time left to go in this race, and all the while we are going to keep an eye and see what these drivers can do here, as it is all Caden Anderson since the drop of the green in his world here at Worldwide Technology Raceway out in front.
Yeah, up front, he's feeling comfortable for now, but I'm looking at these lap times, and Dennis Moore, if he wasn't being held up by Cole Raz, I think he might be running faster than the 37 of our leader. Raz just running a very defensive line currently, just about a half a groove high, and now gonna be side by side, going through 3 and 4. This is the best opportunity Dennis Moore's had all race long for this pass for second. He's gonna be clear, not completely. Here's that run by the 10.
Run by the 10. Raz is after him. Here comes Moore down on the inside. King will follow right there with him also as they work off that corner. Down into turn number 2. A little wiggle there by Moore. Raz will battle back. He'll take King with him. Newton, those 3 trucks up on the outside lane as they go to turn number 3.
And right now, the big thing is Dennis Moore right on the back bumper. I'm curious, how patient will Dennis Moore be? Knowing that he's got the grip, he's got the speed, he's just being held up, and right there, get on the quarter panel of Cole Raz, thinking about potentially giving a bump, and I think that might be the only opportunity Dennis Moore has, especially this late into a run. It's so difficult to make passes here at Gateway. Once you're on those older tires, it's so hard to get back into the throttle on the inside compared to the drivers that are running on the outer groove. And Cole Raz just showing the dominance of just a defensive line to hold off everyone back as Kane Anderson continues to grow that lead.
Coming up on 40 laps completed this time by. There's the battle inside the top 5 from 2nd to 5th as Moore gave a bumper there to the left rear corner of the tailgate of Raz. Raz wiggled, he holds onto that spot, he'll stay 2nd. It's Moore, King, Newton roaring after him in the corner, and while that goes on, Sammy D, Caden Anderson has checked out by 2 seconds from this pack off of turn 2.
I've got to say, though, driver I'm most impressed about, Paul Newton. I mean, in some ways, I'm not surprised. This intermediate short track racing type style of entering these corners. The corners are all so different. There's a lot of braking, downshifting. Paul Newton in 5th place, doing a great job running where he's at in 5th, just being patient, letting the race come to him like I talked about in the first part of this race. Just got to be patient. If you're patient, everyone else makes mistakes, you're going to gain those positions. That's what the 27 has done so far, as the battling for 2nd still rages on.
Yeah, there's no love lost by these guys as they work off the corner. It's Dennis Moore, the points leader, battling with Cole Raz. They are 1 and 2 in the points. They're 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack, and that goes on in turn number 3.
Such a helpless feeling right now that Cole Raz is putting on Dennis Moore. Moore just every lap hoping to get a run, and this is a good chance. He actually got a better exit out of turn number 4. Now has a nose over the 10 into turn 2. If he can clear, he's got a good chance, but similar like 20 laps ago, just can't get the better run on the exit. Here comes the 10 on the backstretch, and Tyler King as well gets a little loose behind following this battle. They're still side by side down in turn number 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, Samuel, it looked like for a second and Tyler King was going to try to stick it 3 wide. He backed off. Now he'll close back in on the left rear quarter panel on the inside. Makes a run on Raz. As now Moore clears Raz, and now he gets sideways and goes to the bottom of the apron of the racetrack. He loses ground. More cars pass him. Moore now gets back in the gas, but he lost 3-4 spots in that exchange, and that goes on out of turn 2.
Dennis Moore got so excited he finally cleared the 10, but with that excitement, too much adrenaline, gets into the throttle too soon, gets loose, loses even more than just the position he was in. From the battling for 2nd back to 5th, what a struggle by that of Dennis Moore.
Caden Anderson, Tyler King, Cole Raz, Paul Newton, Dennis Moore, your top 5. Jeff Stabnow, Dan Lowther, Stephen O'Hare, and Chris White, Troy Daggett, your top 10 on lap number 45, this time by working lap number 44. And this is now Dennis Moore. He's now trying to run back down the conga line. The tailgate trucks in front of him, including King, Raz, Newton. That goes on in 3.
Yeah, and right now, gotta say for Cole Raz, he gave up the positioning for second on Dennis Moore. But I think the big thing is he battled so hard with Dennis Moore to hold that position. Tyler King gifted second place, and now the battle for second place is on, and it's Tyler King in the better defensive line heading down into turn number 1 at the start of lap 47. Gotta say for King, can't drift too high. It looks like he's done just that. Here comes the exit of the corner. The Beaver State driver giving up second place. Just too much speed into turn 1.
Yeah, this battle continuing now for second as they go into turn number 3. Raz up on the outside. Tyler King sneaks down to the inside. He'll make the run. Newton licks his chops. He's ready to pounce somehow, some way. Dennis Moore back to the bottom. This goes on out of turn 4 as Raz trucks wiggle, coming to the start-finish line. Closing in on lap number 50. Still a long way to go at Gateway, and the battle for second goes on in turn 1.
In turn 1, still, it's a collection of drivers that continues to grow. It only was the battle for second back to 5th. Well, oh boy, Dennis Moore, that's the wall. You want to stay away from that. The 44 goes down low, going to lose another position again to Paul Newton, who takes that 4th place position back. But Jeff Stabnow now entering the fray, and Wesley, I think this might be the worst time for Jeff Stabnow to enter this group because the patience level is gone and the tires as well are starting to fall off.
Player 24 has entered the game, if you will. He's now making a run to sneak into the top 5 after the points leader, Dennis Moore. And Samuel, how hungry is Jeff Stabnow? He wants to go back to victory lane. It was Indianapolis of June of 2020. Last time he had a victory on Cup and Truck. And now he is trying to get up into the top 5, making a run on Moore, the points leader.
Yeah, and right now, certainly trying his best. Dennis Moore, though, he's toasted those tires. He just got so aggressive on trying to get by Cole Raz in that battle for second place that they had for 15, almost 20 laps in a row. And for the 44, those tires are toasted. Now Jeff Stabnow with the mix in. Looking at the lap times for Jeff Stabnow, it's more so of the drivers ahead of him were battling so much that it just gifted into those positions and times being gifted to the 24. But now that everyone's single file out, they're not racing as hard against one another. Stabnow, yes, he could go for an opportunity here for 5th, but the speed, I'm not liking it for his opportunity to go for a win. I think a top 5 might be in his window. It matters how the rest of these 110 laps go for these drivers.
The best finish for Jeff Stabnow this year so far has been 3 7th place finishes. That includes Texas, Darlington, and Daytona right now in the overall standings, and that's going on. Looking at this driver now, sizing up Dennis Moore. That goes on for position as this goes on here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We are 10 laps away, Samuel, from lap 60 this time by.
Yeah, and as we're on this lap, coming to 110 laps to go across the line for Kane Anderson, putting us at lap 51, at the start of lap 51, excuse me. I'm curious, looking at this field, looking at some of the speed that these drivers are putting down. A driver that's sneaky fast in the middle of this pack, Stephen O'Hare that we see on screen, and also 10th place runner, Dylan Huffines. He's running very close to what some of our drivers of that of Cole Raz, Dennis Moore, 4th and 5th place, what they're putting down. Stephen O'Hare doing a very similar thing. We might see really everyone from 4th back to 10th close in on one another because of just the amount of tire wear that was brutalized in the early portions of this race for our top 5.
And all the while, you got to be thinking, Samuel, I don't want to be a part of the caution, but I need a caution. I think a lot of these drivers are right now thinking that, because if they don't get a yellow flag here sometime soon, we might see in the next 15 or 20 laps green flag pit stops for a lot of the front runners.
Yeah, and this duel, once again, back at it. So we got a little bit of a 12-lap break, but that of Cole Raz, and as well that of Dennis Moore. Back at it again in similar spot. That of Dennis Moore out of turn 4, finally makes the pass cleanly and onto the throttle cleanly as he'll take away that 4th place position in the 10. Now going in the wrong direction as he falls back to 5th.
So as the leader, Caden Anderson, comes off of turn 4 down the front straightaway, the rest of the field now, led by those drivers, are now hitting the backstretch, if you will, to turn number 3. It is a big lead now, close to 3.5 seconds for Anderson. And all the while, King in second comfortably. Then you got 4 seconds back. This battle that continues between Newton, Moore, Raz, Stabnow. That goes on as they cross the line, back into the corner, and there goes now Newton trying to go after Tyler King for second in turn 1.
And as these drivers continue to battle it out for second place, that is the Tyler King and Paul Newton. Newton really talked about it. Just be patient. Let the race come to you. Let other drivers make those mistakes. He is rolling and having a good run for himself. Into pit road, going to be that of John Ombacher, but a spill going to happen. A driver running so slow. It's Bj Tedrick. We saw on screen running so slow for himself. He'll bring out the yellow because he's just in crawl mode. He's just been crawling. I don't understand why.
Spice Ford. Yeah, you're exactly right, Samuel. I mean, he's at a snail's pace. Did he run out of fuel? That's the question.
I think he might have just blown an engine for himself, but he's just been crawling. I'm surprised that he was still out on track, but I'm trying to go back and see exactly when the engine might have gone for himself.
And by the way, great sportsmanship there by Chris Kamari, being there to give him the assist with the bumper to help try to let him get back to the pits. We're watching now the replay. Bj Tedrick. And see what happened. Samuel's thinking the motor let go. He just slowed down, Samuel. Look at this.
Yeah, I think the center of the corner, the engine might have gone for himself, and then he just is coasting. And he's so slow that the drivers just decide to go right on by. We're going to right on board with this Bj Tedrick and watch and listen to the engine. Again, we're coasting because we're trying to carry as much speed as possible. Normal race for the 72 currently right now, but right now, going into turns 1 and 2, watch the speedometer, also just listen to the engine. And it went there, right into the entry of the corner. I talked about the fact that these drivers, if they downshift too soon, the rear ends could go. But also, you could blow the engine if you downshift too soon. It looks like that's exactly what happened to Bj Tedrick there.
Race off pit road. Here they come. And give it to Caden Anderson, winning the race off pit road. Along behind him, everyone else coming in, exiting on the pits. Tyler King right there behind him as well as Paul Newton, Dennis Moore. And all the while, that is the way things go down. The RKM Chevrolet, Caden Anderson of the Harvest Chevrolet entry is up in front. Sheer domination so far for the driver out of Yakima, Washington. And he is currently the man that everybody is gunning down. Third in the point standings. However, after 4 poles, 4 top 5s and 6 top 10s, he is third in the points, looking for his first Northwest Truck Series win for this season. Could it happen tonight for 37? Tyler King right there along with him. Some of us see a couple of these other trucks like Billings, Montana, John Annenbacher, and some others that might have decided not to pit to get back on the lead lap and to take the wave around. Chris Kamari is now officially 1 lap down, and we're still with 18 trucks in the lead lap. If Kamari does take the wave around in 15, he will become now 19 trucks on the lead lap. And right now, back out in front, looks like Audenbacher and Harris will be the ones that go for the wave around. It's going to cycle back around to, of course, for the pit stops of Caden Anderson. Entering first, exiting first, and getting it done. He leads the way. Let's give you your full field rundown right now, as we are 56 laps into this race here, 160 laps the distance, closing in on 100 laps to go. Caden Anderson is the leader after the pit stops first round. Tyler King second, up 8 spots. Up 4 spots, Paul Newton in third. Up 1 spot, Dennis Moore in fourth. Up 3 spots, Jeff Stabnow. The fifth, back by 2 is Dan Lowther in sixth. Chris White is up 7 spots. He's in the 7th position of the 6th. Dylan Huffines, 8th, is up by 3 spots in the 20. Up 13, tied with Troy Daggett in 9th, and Tyler Kim. Good run for him so far in the top 10. Rest of the rundown includes Briar Reynolds, 11th. Toby Ritters is 12th. Of course, Aaron Cooper, 13th. Stephen O'Hare, 14th. And Cole Raz now, after that round of pit stops, falling back to 15th. Pole Truck, Ryan Bloom 16th. Frank Harris, John Onnebacher now on the lead lap, followed by Camary, Tedrick, Ortega, Smith, Hunter, and Burke. The rundown here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Samuel, lights off on the pace truck. We're getting ready to come up on 100 laps to go. And by the way, we're 3 caution flags now into this race before halfway.
Yeah, and with those cautions coming out, we've seen a lot of drivers have to use their fast repairs, which gives note to that of Angel Ortega, that of Kevin Smith, as well as Bj Tedrick. For Tedrick, he does have a fast repair still in his back pocket, but has still been in pit road for over 4 minutes trying to get repairs done. For over 10 minutes is Angel Ortega still in pit road. And for Kevin Smith, over 20 minutes he has been in pit road. Ron Hunter, Carl Burke, both out of the race.
Field will make their way back to the Geico restart zone. Pace car peels onto the pit lane out of turn number 4. The pack is set with now Anderson and King on the front row. Newton Moore, followed by also Jeff Stabnow, top 5, and Anderson's gone. Green flag back in the air. And as we approach 100 laps to go, Anderson has just checked out from the field. King now under attack by Moore and Newton for second. That goes on out of turn 2.
But now we got fresh tires on, and that stint really enabled these drivers to figure out how aggressive do I need to be? Was I being too patient on my tires, or do I need to be even more aggressive? Tyler King on the gold pedal, as well as Paul Newton in 4th. Newton really started to find that strength on the long run. We'll see how well the 27 as well as the 24 can hold off the pack of the field behind him as Brian Reynolds gets out of shape.
Yeah, we're going to watch Reynolds now falling back in the number 12 Jack Daniels machine. Somehow gets back up in the throttle, gets back up in the corner, and all that goes on now for the lead. Tyler King after Anderson out of turn number 2.
Talked about it. That of Tyler King just was getting a little bit more aggressive. Felt like he didn't use up his tires as much as he could have, and now going to be passing that 37. And Kane Anderson, maybe he felt like he needs to be a little bit more patient. Let himself have those tires for later on in a run. As he had that big old lead, it was because Cole Raz held off the rest of the field. Now he doesn't have that safety net anymore.
100 laps to go. Samuel, we mentioned Cole Raz winning the race here at Worldwide Technology, but we also forgot to mention that that race had to end about 15 laps shy to the finish because of sim time expiring. That's the second time this year that's happened to the Northwest Cup at Texas and at Gateway. Tonight, these drivers doing well. 100 laps to go, and it's Tyler King now. Look at Ritters. And by the way, happy birthday to Clifford in the 23 today in that Ford. He's got a good solid run. As Brian Reynolds spins on front of the Geico restart zone behind Toby Ritters. The truck spins. No caution as of yet. The race goes on in turn 1 and 2.
He overcorrected, hit the wall, and it kept the 12 pointing straight, so no yellow is going to come out. We stay green, but certainly a scare that we saw on our camera for a quick second there.
And as the ball, happy birthday again, Toby Ritters in that Bud, this Bud's for you, Thunder Road number 23. He got himself a pretty good solid run right now, Samuel, in the top 10 as they works down the front straightaway. All of this going on with just a moment ago behind him, Reynolds now falling all the way back to 17th, 15 seconds behind the leader. Here comes now Newton and Moore. They battle there into turn number 2.
This is going to be the battling for that of 4th place. Talked about Paul Newton. He was great on the long run, but how well could he hold off the rest of the field? Looks like for that of at least Dennis Moore, not able to hold off the 44. But another driver that I want to watch out for, the 20 of Dylan Huffines. He's up to 6th. And this caution, resetting, getting fresh tires, the 20 could be a threat to watch out for at least the top 4 finish.
Yeah, can you say this changes everything? We'll keep an eye on that for sure. As right now is Mr. Tyler King up in front. There is the Ghost Energy number 20 Chevrolet of Dylan Huffines. He now makes his run to try to sneak in the top 5. He's up on the outside. Look at the tailgate of Stabnow and Newton 3.
And as these drivers single filing out, picking and choosing where they want to attack, updates further back. Brian Reynolds after the hard contact of the outside wall, 12 into pit road. Getting back out on track will be the 72 of Bj Tedrick.
Whoa!
And that's the issues that these drivers got to have, getting back into the throttle. And, you know, I talked about you got to race this track, and I think for some, I've been feeling a little bit too comfortable. Didn't realize, hey, it took me a while for these tires to warm up and for me to get used to those ways that this track wanted to attack. And they got to reset once again. Great save by those drivers on screen.
What a bonsai move by Paul Newton, somehow, someway threading the needle through all of this chaos and keeping the truck in a straight, narrow line. Raz and now Daggett, they battle now. This is for 9th and 10th. Samuel, this is not a predicament that Cole Raz has been in all night long. He's at least been in 1 and 2, and he's now mired in the top 10, back to 1.
Yeah, Stefano Hare and Cole Raz, both under that yellow, decided to stay in pit road for extended time to get repairs done, which put them back in that 14th and 15th position. O'Hare hasn't been able to climb through this field as cleanly as Cole Raz. Raz, each driver he gets by, he just gets more and more difficult for each position. And for Troy Daggett, one of our biggest movers of the night, up 12 positions as well with himself and Tyler Kim. And they've done a great job holding off this 10 for now.
My goodness, down the front stretch, here comes now Raz battling Daggett, the tool-time Toyota, hanging right there with him. Tyler Kim also, Samuel, I don't want to jinx anything, but that Ford Performance number 30, what a solid run for that driver tonight. Looking good as he hangs right there behind Daggett as they go to 3.
Yeah, I mean, Daggett and Kim, biggest movers of the day, both up 12 positions from where they started. Both were outside of the top 20 when they qualified, and just outside for that of Kim of the top 10. Daggett 10. Great runs for themselves currently. Drivers that haven't had good runs, though, Angel Ortega, he has officially called it a night for the 68.
For Tyler Kim that we just mentioned in the 30 in his 10th start tonight, his best finish this year so far, Samuel. Sonoma, road course, 15th. Other than that, top 20s finishes across the board. While this goes on, battle for 3rd down. As here comes now Jeff Stabnow. He's going to carry a wingman and Paul Newton with him by a couple of truck links, and they're going after Caden Anderson and Dennis Moore off of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. As we approach now 10 laps away next time by to the 70, 80, close to halfway is what I meant to say, and that goes on in turn 2.
Yeah, and for right now, Caden Anderson, that first stint kind of was had an asterisk over it. He had Cole Raz really defending and holding off the 44 of Dennis Moore as yellow flag strikes, further back issues.
Caution out. Frank Harris is on the pit lane. We're wondering if he might be the one with problems and maybe some others. Yellow flag as the field comes down to the start-finish line. 4th caution of the race with now 11 laps to halfway, 91 laps to go, Samuel, and we'll find out what the caution's for. I'm wondering if it's for Frank Harris in the number 11 because we've been keeping an eye on him on the pit lane.
Chris Kamari is going to be the driver that brought out this yellow.
Oh, man, number 15, Chris Kamari.
And also could be Bj Tedrick. That might have been the catalyst of Kamari also being involved.
And remember, that Tedrick guy was the one that brought up the most recent caution, and Chris Kamari gave him the assist to try to help him get back to the pit area. Let's watch this again. Yellow flag, Samuel, number 4, just 10 laps to halfway here at Gateway.
Yeah, the big thing for this 72, talked about downshifting too soon. I think it struck once again. Same spot as the first time, down into turn number 1. You're going to see that rear end just kick out. Just downshifting too soon is Bj Tedrick, and ending his day and potentially others.
Whoa! Wowzers, hold on. Kamari, nowhere to go. Into the left front of the number 72. Kamari probably with a lot of damage there. Samuel on the right front of the number 15 and the side, if you will. And they're going to be coming from some repairs. And for Tedrick, that might be the end of his race, possibly.
It is already the end. He has left the server immediately. Frustration for the 72. Who blew up his engine earlier, had to coast it, that brought out one of our yellows, and then another incident to bring out his 2nd yellow. Doesn't have a fast spare anymore, already used it up. Same for Chris Kamari. Kamari's just going to sit in pit road, but most likely the 15 is done, meaning this field is dwindling down. We're down to just 16 drivers on the lead lap. We started out with 24, and already 4 drivers have officially DNF'd from this race.
Yeah, 4 drivers out of the race. Of course, knowledgeable acknowledgement for James Vining and Lake Peterson. Those guys, I think, attempted to try to make the race. But unfortunately, when it came time to drop the green flag, they were absent. But we do appreciate them for at least trying to make an effort here. All right. Next week, Samuel, we go from St. Louis to the Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be an exciting race on a high-banked mile and a half in the volunteer state.
Yeah, Nashville Super Speedway, going to be the 1.3-mile course, concrete racing. It's going to be a blast to watch. A lot of strategy on who's going to go out there. I'm curious, though. Concrete, especially Nashville Super Speedway, gives you options on taking 2 tires at that race. So if we get some late yellows that come out of Nashville, we might see some strategy calls being thrown out. Otherwise, it should be a pretty clean race. Nashville Super Speedway, not known for being a caution fest type of a race, as Gateway kind of has a shroud over of people thinking that this is always going to be a caution-filled race every time people come here.
And 4 caution flags, by the way, here as we approach lap number 72. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the race summary so far, as halfway is looming here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So far for cautions, we've ran 72 or 71 laps, and 15 laps have been under yellow. 1 lead change, Samuel. And remember, that happened on a restart between Anderson and King, who's in the front now in 21.
Yeah, I mean, that last restart, fresh tires, Tyler King decided to get aggressive. Anderson decided to go a little bit more passive, and the 21 really pounced on that opportunity, as he is certainly doing a great job. Also want to give note, Paul Newton, driver, he certainly is a driver that's doing well from Beaver State Racing, part of that clan as well.
Hey, by the way, if you want to join the team at LSRTV, go now. We are hiring for producers and announcers. Go apply online at livesimracingtv.com and be a part of our broadcast crew for iRacing on LSRTV. The lights are off on the pace car. Samuel, Tyler King got a great jump on the last restart after the pits to get around Anderson. Do you think Caden Anderson's going to return the favor? And by the way, Dennis Moore, Jeff Stabnow, it looks like the last couple of times we've watched him on restarts after yellow flags, they are really strong when they get back to the Geico restart zone within the first 4 or 5 laps, and then they kind of fade back. I think if they want to try to get up in front, they better do it when they get the green.
I mean, it's interesting to see both of those different, expectations. I feel like they're stronger on the longer run. Caden Anderson's the driver I'm concerned about. Does that Cole Rise slow down the rest of the field? We'll see how that 37 can fray with the hungry wolves behind him.
Able to make their way back to the Geico restart zone. Comes onto the pit lane. Green flag back in the air. It's King. Anderson inside. Moore will follow on the bottom. He's got Newton and Stab now to deal with top 5. Go to turn number 1. Huff Pipes is coming.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, for all these drivers, got to be careful not to just throw away your positioning on these restarts. You're going through a heat cycle. The tires cooled off just a little bit. So that means you've got to be even more careful on the exit of the corners. That means for Tyler King, he cannot make a mistake, as Anderson's been practically picture perfect. It's just the fact that he's taking care of these tires a little bit more on this run.
Anderson got a little sideways watching it all through the exit of the corner, the apex of 3 and 4. That allowed Moore to try to reel him back in. While that goes on, Stab now got some company behind him. A Newton and Huffines working on it too.
And also the driver I'm concerned about. How is Cole Raz's tires going to look like once he tries to get through this field? Because he has carved his way. He started all the way back in 14th, 2 restarts to go. And he's done a great job getting up to 7th. But can he move up any further than this? Contact Moore into that Anderson.
Moore into Anderson. Stab now collected. He gets airborne. The back into his truck flies. Birthday boy Toby Ritter's involved. Dan Lowther involved. So is also Briar Reynolds checking up. Peyton Anderson and Moore. Ron Hunter. Frank Harris. A multi-truck accident calamity. Samuel Dyer in turn number 3.
It's just gridlock striking. It all starts here with the 44. Dennis Moore trying to get down into the corner, and there's been a lot of server issues going on, but right there could have been active server issues, could have been over aggressiveness, but that's right in the center of the corner. Everyone's just rolling. You cannot stop, and everyone else trying to whoa up, but you're already so fast in a position where there's nowhere you can go. You're stacked up. It's on a restart, and you see Toby Ritter's smoke pluming out of the 23 blown engine. He's going to have to use a fast repair. A lot of drivers just have to coast to pit road, and Toby Ritter's, I think his day is done. He's already used his fast repair.
Man, that's a tough break for the birthday boy there. He had such a good run going for him in the top 10. Wrong place at the wrong time. for the number 23. Some other trucks coming down to the pit lane. Cole Raz getting also checked out. And all the while, this has changed everything. Samuel, that accident happened. It ignited behind the leader in the top 2 through the top 10. And now look at Huffines and O'Hare and even Kim. And I'm sorry, in the 25 of Bloom. They've all been able to advance those spots and move into the top 5.
Yeah, and, I talked about this in the beginning of this race, right when we went green. I mean, Kane Anderson, he can look dominant with great qualifying runs. I mean, we talked about it. He's got 4 poles so far this season. He can look great and dominant in the first to middle portions of this race, but there's always an incident that gets him caught up in a wreck where he has to go back in the middle of the field or further back that just stalls him out. He's never able to get back up front. This is one of those adversity races where he's going to have to do it again if he wants to get his first win of the season.
Don't see anyone else in the front of the pack coming to commit to the lane. John Annenbacher is in. Jeff Stabnow is in. What a heartbreak, Samuel, for Jeff Stabnow. He had such a good run going for him. By the way, he's only 1 lap down. He could get that lap back.
Well, he's 2 now. He's still on pit road.
Now he's 2 laps down. Yeah, now he's 2 laps down. My apologies there. And that's just frustrating, Samuel, because, man, he had such a good top 5 run going for him.
Yeah, and I think the thing that hurts Jeff Stabnow even more is the fact that I believe he had a blown engine, and he was trying to get himself to pit road, but overshot, wasn't able to go back into reverse, and so he actually had to take a tow, which adds 3 minutes to get all the way to pit road, even though his truck stopped only a couple of feet before his box. And it's going to be costly. Going to be at least 3 to 4 laps down before he can get rolling again. Does have a fast repair in his pocket, but just so many laps down, I don't see the 24 getting back on the lead lap. He's going to need a lot more of other drivers to have misfortunes and have fatally big wrecks moving forward.
Well, Samuel, we're coming up on halfway here in about 2 more laps, so I guess we could officially have our LSRTV mid-race report. Your take of things here so far at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it's been the Raz Now King show. Tyler King, I know he's hungry. He wants to win.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler King has been up front. He qualified back in 10th, but he's done a great job moving up through this field each and every restart. And he was one of the first drivers really get by that of Cole Raz. And ever since then, he's been a threat. And now the question is, how strong are the drivers behind him going to be now after having to use a fast repair and fight their way through traffic? Easily can get a little bit of damage here or there that could hurt these drivers such as Cole Raz, Kane Anderson, Dennis Moore. They're now in the heart of this field. They've got a lot of drivers to get by, and that's a big opportunity to be wiped out of this race when we're getting to halfway.
Tyler King outside the top 10 of the point standings in the number 11 position. His best finish so far this year was also on the road course at Sonoma. Started 7th, finished 4th for the number 21 American Touch-Up entry. 1 top 5 finish, 6 top 10 so far this year for the driver of the number 41. The field will make their way back to the Geico restart zone. It will be lap number 80. 1 more lap around after that. The flagman will show the cross sticks here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. It'll be field coming down to the start finish line. Back to the Geico restart zone they go. Up to speed. King pulls away from Huffines. Here comes O'Hare. A couple of Beaver State Clan teammates, 1 and 2. Lead them 1 and 2 into turn 2.
And this just seems like a night for Beaver State Racing. You just look at the way that they've all been running, and it's just been strong throughout the field. Stephen O'Hare, he's had to deal with damage for himself, but if there's any driver that's just been hunting and hounding and being patient, it's going to be that of Dylan Huffines. He has been looking strong for this 20 machine. Coming here for Gateway, got to say, Wesley, if this 20 can just find a little bit of extra speed on the long run, I would not be surprised if he could challenge that of Tyler King.
Cross flags in the air, 80 laps down, 80 laps to go. Let's give you your top 10 as we watch Huffines now getting some company from O'Hare as well as Bloom. This going on with King, Huffines, O'Hare, Bloom, White, Raz, Cooper, Kim, Daggett, and Anderson now the top 10. Look at Tyler Kim making a run on Troy Daggett. This goes on out of turn number 4. What a drive for both of these trucks, Samuel. You mentioned them earlier. We're ready now for the second half of this race as this battle goes on for 7th and 8th and 9th into turn 1.
I mean, it's helpful when you're just racing the racetrack while everyone else is wiping themselves out. That is the big thing for that of Troy Daggett and Tyler Kim. Staying side by side, they got one of the most aggressive drivers in the league. That of Caden Anderson splitting the middle, trying to get by that of Kim already. Now Troy Daggett's the next on the radar. The 37 quickly cutting and carving his way through. But that was a quick scare, just touching the grass and the rumble strips. That's not where you want to be that low. But the 37's willing to get risky if it means that he can start moving forward. But speaking of moving forward, Stephen O'Hare, third place runner right now. Within a second is our top 3. Question is for Stephen O'Hare, does he want to get aggressive here or stay patient and hope that the tires and also the long run will just gradually come in to take the second place position?
Yeah, just got to hold it together there as they work now. There's this battle going on as Raz pushing Blue up the racetrack. He's up on the outside lane in the middle of the groove, if you will. Raz back up now in the 4th. They work off turn number 4. Anderson also trying to get around Cooper. They've cleared those trucks. This goes on as they go back to turn number 1 for 4th and 5th in turn 2 now.
And for Cole Raz, he was so aggressive in the first stint for first 60s. Oh no, it's Dennis Moore, John. That if Dan Lowther talked about it. Middle of the field, you could get into trouble. And we saw it there for the 44 and the 68.
And no caution flag though, Samuel. No yellow flag.
They were not sideways enough on the racing surface in front of oncoming traffic, so no yellow is thrown. But the battle for second is now on as long as O'Hare stays off the wall.
Yeah, look at O'Hare, man. He was trying to make a run on Huffines. Huffines will clear him. He's in the middle of that Beaver State sandwich, if you will, for positions 1 and 3. That's King and O'Hare. Huffines trying to spoil the party in the Ghost Energy Chevrolet to the back straight away.
He's doing a great job for now, but as long as those drivers we're watching of O'Hare, Dylan Huffines, they start to get a little bit more squirrely. You've got to be careful of seeing that of Cole Raz closing the gap. But even with that mistake from O'Hare, still ran faster than the 10 machine. This is right around the window that Cole Raz started to fall off and have his issues. But for the 10, if he was on the same set of tires of our top 3, then I'd be a little bit more concerned. But he's actually going to be on fresher tires. He's going to be that 10. So he's doing his best to go forward as Ken Anderson gets by Chris White. He's now up to 6th.
Yeah, Chris White now up on the outside, up under the back of Anderson, now trying to run down to the bottom of the inside of the racetrack. This goes on for position. This is now for 6th and 7th spot. White dirt tracks it, if you will, off turn number 2. Meanwhile, Daggett and Newton battle for 8th and 9th behind them. And this all goes on back into turn number 1.
Keeping my eyes on these drivers and the different strategies that are being thrown out. Again, Cole Raz, fresher tires, but he is not closing in on our front 3. The front 3, they're on 20-lap older tires than Cole Raz, but yet they're running faster than the 10 machine. Surprising to see. And as this battling, Kevin Smith, who's had a lot of woes here tonight, he's trying to make some moves, even though he's 51 laps down, and challenging this of Troy Daggett. Daggett must be hating this pressure from a driver that's so many laps down.
And here's the thing, Samuel, as we work lap number 90 coming up, Kevin Smith is 50-plus laps down, but his truck is still really, really fast.
Yeah, it's really fast, mainly because he still had that fast repair. He finally was able to use the fast repair, and that's why it's clean. He's got fresh tires, and he's back out there running. Yes, there's a little bit of rear-end damage, but that's been the overall contact after these last couple of wrecks. And the 00 looks quick, but you got to be thinking of the what-ifs if he did not get into so much early trouble.
Hey, just got around Daggett's truck as they work off turn 4, back to start finish now. 1 lap to lap 90 on the board next time by, as all the while here comes down Newton and White. This goes on for 7th and 8th. That's in turn number 2 in front of Samuel.
Yeah, and Paul Newton, part of that Beaver State Racing clan, and he's really been looking fast for himself. He's got that speed, and the setup that these Beaver State Racing drivers had made for themselves has been so clean here this evening. Got to give credit to everyone on board with the Beaver State Racing team, because they've figured out the long run pace. They've also had some short run speed, and that's why we're seeing Tyler King, Stephen O'Hare 1 and 2. At one moment, Dennis Moore was up there challenging and doing well. And then you've got that of Paul Newton back at 7th, just keeping charge, going forward in the right direction.
And while that happens, Evan Smith was trying to run down, if you will, the Chris White truck. And here comes now a battle heating up for second as the Beaver State Racing 41, Stephen O'Hare, finally gets around Dylan Huffines. Ghost Energy Chevrolet, there you see him, lap 90 on the board. Closing in on 70 to go, Samuel. But that battle now goes to second, but it's now the Beaver State Clan 1 and 2 off 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2 at this moment, but for Dylan Huffines, that last lap just slightly faster than O'Hare, and O'Hare's been struggling on the entry of turn 3. Where he's been losing a lot of time, and watch out for the 20. He's going to try to set up here, but like I talked about earlier, Wesley, that outer lane, if you can keep the speed through the center of the corner, you can really defend on the straightaways of the drivers that try to make the pass on the inside. O'Hare, as long as he's still got the tires, still got the momentum, he could defend that of Huffines for about that of 15 to 20 laps if he's got the tires to do it.
Oh, and by the way, mind you, here comes also the Caden Anderson machine right there, back up with Raz. Super Friends are position 3 and 4. They have somehow, some way found a way to get back through the field as they go to the bottom of the racetrack to the rumble strips at the turn number 3 and 4. There goes also the 25 of the pole truck, Brian Bloom, the 2021 ARCA Northwest champion. Solid run for him tonight. Sonoma winner Paul Newton, normally on the road courses. He's short tracking it now, but he goes after Bloom for that spot in 1.
Going to be going for 6th place is Paul Newton, who's had a very solid season for that 27. Continues to move forward, and now on the back pressure of Caden Anderson. If Paul Newton can find a way to get by this 37, Wesley, for 5th place, Paul Newton right now is one of the fastest trucks on track. I would not be surprised if he could try to climb his way up to at least 4th or maybe even 3rd with the speed this 27 has.
Yeah, he is coming. Now this battle going on for 5th and 6th position now. Paul Newton, look at how fast he is, 34.191. Pretty good times being set. He's after now the driver from Yakima, Washington, Harvest Chevrolet, up the outside, going all the way to the safer wall barrier into turn number 3.
I'm looking at some of the fastest laps that have been put down all night long. Paul Newton coming in 3rd fastest of all drivers. Fastest driver to put down a time down below a 33.9. Tyler King, our leader currently, he put that earlier in this race. Then Cole Raz with the 2nd fastest time of a 34.006. And then it's Paul Newton with a 34.191. That is the 3rd fastest truck officially of all time laps when you got the fresh tires. Currently right now, fastest truck on track is that 27.
And did you notice Anderson slipped just a little bit off the exit of the corner into turn number 2? They work out into the 3rd turn. Newton dives it in there on the inside. He'll clear Anderson's truck. Put down Newton in the top 5. King, O'Hare, Huffines, Raz, Newton, top 5. Anderson, Bloom, Moore, Lowther, White, top 10. As we now go up now with Daggett and White battling side by side. This is going on to fight to get back into that top 10 position. And that goes on into turn number 1.
And for Troy Daggett, tried a different strategy, went with 2 tires under that last stop, while going to be seeing Troy Daggett go with the 4, actually that of Chris White went for no tires on the last stop, while Troy Daggett went with 2 tires on the last stop. So a little bit of strategy calls have been thrown, especially those that came into pit road under our last yellow. There's a lot of different drivers that wanted to test out 2 tires. One of those being Caden Anderson. He's back at 6th with battle for 4th. Cole Raz, Paul Newton, drivers that came into pit road, both took 4 tires under this last yellow. And right now, Paul Newton looking like the faster long run setup machine. The 27 setting it up. Here we go into turn number 3.
Paul Newton has just proved that he is probably one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack. As well, Lowther in trouble again. Back straight away, going to 3. He still saves it, Samuel, and no caution as we approach triple digits.
Got loose, overcorrected, but kept it straight. Was that 63. Once again, exit of turn 2 has been the trouble point for Dan Lowther, and continues to at least keep it in the right direction, but lost a lot of time as we move back up to the battling that's for 3rd place. Paul Newton, he takes 1 position, and it's like the driver ahead of him helps pull him along into the next driver, the next one. And right now, It's going to be Dylan Huffines. He's about a second off from that of Paul Newton's teammate, Stephen O'Hare. For Paul Newton, you never know if he can make this clean pass on that of Huffines. Might be able to get up to second place or even the lead if we continue to stay green.
He is really strong. He's using dirty air, clean air, somehow, some way, reeling these drivers in one by one, picking them up and putting them down. His next adversary will be Dylan Huffines. That's off of turn 2.
And the big advantage right now for Paul Newton, he's got a great setup for him, as he's got the same setup as our front 2 runners currently right now. But a 20-lap advantage on tires is why this 27 is so fast, running just a little bit faster than our leaders in that of clean air. In dirty air, struggling just slightly to be faster than Tyler King, but he is much faster than Huffines, and Huffines just is a sitting duck to this 27, or is he coming through the center of the corner?
Yeah, Newton just threw it in there, went for the slider, made that move. Now crosses up in front of Huffines and makes the pass. Put him now to the number 3 position as Paul Newton, one by one, he began this ascent, if you will, Samuel, from the 10th spot. The 27 has rallied through the field, and he has now got company as Huffines trying to come back after him to return the favor. 100 laps down, 60 to go, they're in turn 1.
I mean, he certainly is trying to come back with that rally, but just there's too much grip in the corners for the 27. You saw it there. Entry of turn 1 already going to be about 2/10 ahead. Exit of the corner so much faster is going to be the 27, and now over 3/10 faster is going to be that of Paul Newton. The gap between Newton, though, to our leader, Tyler Kim, going to be 2.5 seconds here, Wesley, and for Paul Newton, he's got to find a little bit of extra speed, but I'm also curious, how are the teammates, if Paul Newton gets up there, going to battle with one another? It's going to take a little bit of time before Newton gets up to the battling for second place, but a couple of other drivers further back. Here's Dan Lowther, who has had some woes here tonight and can't wait for tonight to be over.
Yeah, for the most part, it looks like Lowther's truck is clean on the driver's side, but on passenger right there, you see right there from our broadcast monitor, you can see how beaten, battered, banged, and bandaged that number 63 machine is, the Ford of Dan Lowther. But somehow, some way, Samuel, amongst the hiccups, 2 times recently having problems in the backstretch, but still no caution, he is on the lead lap of the number 14 position, and of course, Frank Harris, 1 lap down, only 14 trucks on the lead lap. They come down the straightaway. Here comes now Chris White and Troy Daggett. That goes on for 9th and 10th in turn 2.
They had a little bit of a break for about 10 laps. Well, let's put it right back onto cue, and it's going to be Troy Daggett doing his best to try to catch up to Chris White. The battle for 9th place is what we're watching on screen. And as we're watching this battle and waiting for Troy Daggett to try to just inch a little bit closer, or see that White make a little bit of a mistake on the center of the corner, I got to give a little bit of an update. Ryan Reynolds, a driver that has struggled all night long, 11 laps down. Well, he's going to be more into pit road for the 12, who had already used a fast repair.
There goes Chris White back off into the corner. Daggett right there behind him. This is going on for 9th and 10th position. Off of turn number 2, a little sideways there. Chris White was trying there, and Daggett just cannot reel him in.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now for Chris White, he's trying to get and extract everything he can out of this truck, even if it means getting him loose and out of trouble, but at least there's speed. If you're loose, you're fast. And for Troy Daggett, on the other hand, it just seems like he's a little bit tight in the center of the corner, feels comfortable on the exit, but that's where he's losing a lot of speed. Isn't able to get back on the throttle as smooth as the 6, even though Chris White looks out of control. Both drivers having their pluses and minuses. Speaking of pluses and minuses, Kate Anderson taking a plus. Huffines backing out, and I think for that 20 pit road, and that's exactly where he's going. He's going in, cannot make it to the end of this race. On that last time he came into pit road, had to come in. This is his money stop.
We have seen how strong that truck is, and now he comes down to the pit lane. Here's the only difference of the two, Samuel. This is green flag pit stops. A bold strategy for Dylan Huffines as his Chevrolet comes to pit lane here in that Ghost Energy yellow and red machine. Could this be the race for the victory here? What a strategy it is on lap 106.
Yeah, I mean, all these drivers still need to make at least one more pit stop. Every single driver still needs to come in. Even those that came into pit road under our last yellow, such as that of Paul Newton and Keenan Anderson. But this is a great time for Huffines. He comes in, takes 4 tires and fuel, about a second and a half longer of a stop, deciding to get a little bit of repairs done for himself. But those are the tiny little mistakes that could be costly for later on, especially if you start to see other drivers trickle into pit road. But this is right when the window opens to make it to the end.
106. And now Huffines back on the blend line of the back straightaway. He's back on course with everyone else. The question is, I bet you he's crossing his fingers and hoping for a yellow flag, because if that happens, that puts him back on the lead lap, obviously. And if also we do not get a yellow flag, Samuel, if he plays his cards right, hopefully he can climb the scoring pendulum, if you will, pylon, to get back to the lead. We've seen how strong his truck is, as now we see Ryan Bloom and Raz go at it for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, drivers right now, based off the lap times that they've put down the last lap, compared to their best lap, they are running about a second and a half slower, meaning that they are losing a lot of time. Each lap that Huffines stays out and puts down a lap compared to those that continue to stay out, that is gaining a second and a half on those drivers. And for Huffines, he might have the lead by the time that, you know, whenever we see these drivers finally come into pit road and do a full pit cycle. But those drivers that are going to be coming into pit road much later, once they've used up all their fuel and tires, they're going to have the much faster machine at the end of the day. They're going to take all that time back and maybe even more. The first driver that comes into pit road, I like to call it the Goldilocks effect here, Wesley. First driver that comes in, I don't like it because usually that means you pitted too soon. Those drivers ahead of you are going to be able to really take that time back. It's finding that sweet spot, not waiting too long, but coming in right in between the last driver to come to pit road and the first, usually are the drivers that find themselves in the victory lane.
Will we see a yellow flag for the 6th time? Will we see green flag pit stops? All of that coming up as we're also approaching 50 laps to go. And we're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification, and we'll be right back with you for iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. And remember, effective July 1st, 87.9 FM on your radio dial in the Carolinas.
You're listening to the Community Radio Network. Follow us via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to other games at 87.5 FM or join us anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
As we said, Samuel Dyer, here come green flag pit stops, and Beaver State points leader Dennis Moore in first after Huffines, mind you.
Yeah, Huffines going to be the first initial driver to come in, and this makes sense for Dennis Moore to come in. He's further back in this group. He was around that 5th and 6th position, needed to gain some time on the drivers ahead of him, come in, get those positions, and at least some type of time back if you're going to be aggressive on these tires. But recognizing there's still a lot of time left in this race, the potential is always there. And now the question is for the drivers that are up in our top 5, when do you come into pit road?
And you got to remember, I know it's been almost an hour and a half ago, but one of the notables, Samuel, was Dennis Moore. And he is doing a phenomenal job right now in that truck. Of course, the strategy pitting along with Dylan Huffines. And right there you see Dylan Huffines in front of Caden Anderson and Paul Newton. Those are the drivers in 3rd and 4th down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and for those drivers, question of how aggressive do you want to be? And for Paul Newton, he certainly was being very aggressive on those tires. And Caden Anderson, who was being patient, made it work, made the pass back on the 27. And now the question is, which one of these drivers is going to come into pit road and take a set of tires? Paul Newton at one moment was only just 2.5 seconds back from our leaders. Well, some of our runners up front into pit road, Ryan Bloom hitting that of pits, as well as John Ottenbacher, who is already lapped down. But with the laps dwindling away here, Wesley, I like the drivers that wait longer because the potential of a yellow is always looming over the top of these drivers.
Yeah, you just stole my question. I was actually going to say to you, Samuel, is it good to play possum and not make a green flag pit stop because you're thinking somehow, some way, tires are worn out, fuel's running low, handling's going to become a factor. You know a yellow flag could be coming at any moment, possibly.
Yeah, and half the drivers that still need to come into pit road, our top 10, still need to come in. They can stretch it out another about 15 to that of 20 more laps. So they can go until we've got 30, 25 laps to go. But if you wait that long, you're going to be giving up a lot more time to those that have already come into pit road and used their set of tires to maximize their speed in the gap that they'll have over you. So there's a lot of gambling that you got to be throwing out there if you're deciding to stay out any more longer than past that of lap 125 on track.
And the fast trucks that have came to the pit lane include Dennis Moore, obviously Dylan Huffines first, Ryan Bloom has pitted, and we're keeping an eye on all of them as there's right now 4 trucks 1 lap down. Dylan Huffines, by the way, has now officially, Samuel, got back on the lead lap by running down the leaders, mind you. That's how fast this truck number 20 is. But Samuel, as we approach lap 117, 118, does Dylan Huffines might need to slow down a little bit because you don't want to use that truck up trying to just get back on the lead lap, do you think?
Yeah, that's always in the mindful eye of these drivers is, okay, if I'm going to be pitting at this point, I still got a lot of time left in this race. I cannot overuse these tires as here comes Aaron Cooper as well as Troy Daggett into pit road. And that's always going to be in the back of their minds for being those first drivers that come into pit road is got to think for the full run that you're going to be putting down. If you're fast in the first 5 to 10 laps, you're hurting the last 30 laps of that run. So let's be patient. Let's let the track come to us and see how much time we can build up, being patient and letting those other drivers stay out on track as I just let my fresh tires give me all this time and hope that I've got a big enough gap to hold off the rest of the field. But I know for Huffines, this is a lot that he's asking for. Yes, he's back on the lead lap. Yes, he's looking fast. But there's a lot of other very fast machines that are going to have fresh tires and are going to easily catch up to this 20.
And Samuel, I'll tell you, we just saw Troy Daggett of the 51 Binford Tools machine just come back off of the pit lane, and he's now a lap down, mind you, but he has been in the top 10. And also, with 40 to go, he just took a fast repair.
Yeah, took a fast repair. Ryan Bloom also taking a fast repair after coming into pit road. He's going to have slightly fresher tires than that of Dennis Moore, and slowly is catching up to the 44. This 25, remember, our pole sitter for today. Question is, we haven't seen he hasn't had the strongest long run speed, but certainly he's going to try his best to do so. But up front, it's going to be Beaver State all coming into pit road.
And here they come. Anderson will now cycle back around as the leader. Super Friends, Anderson and Raz 1 and 2. While that goes on, it is Tyler King, followed by also Stephen O'Hare, Paul Newton, all in the pits. And while that goes on, Samuel, this one out put Chris White to 3rd, Kim to 4th. They've got a pit. We're watching Huffines now. He'll move up to 7th when they climb the scoring pylon, and maybe even 5th.
Yeah, and I'm also keeping my eye out on for Dennis Moore and also Dylan Huffines on the gap that they've had right now. Remember, Dylan Huffines, first driver to come into pit road, then it was that of Dennis Moore that came in.
That's right.
Their difference, almost 5 seconds is the difference, and that's just 6 laps of difference on having that Dylan Huffines over Dennis Moore. And that gap is just going to be bloomed out even bigger over Caden Anderson and also Tyler Kim and others. This is going to be an interesting watch on how the tires are going to hold for Dylan Huffines and how fast everyone else is going to be trying to charge and catch up to that 20 machine.
Samuel, I got to be honest with you, bud, as we approach under 40 laps to go, I did not think tonight's race would possibly come down to a fuel mileage strategy at Worldwide Technology Raceway. You normally just don't see something like this at Gateway.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a tire strategy than fuel mileage for these drivers. Everyone still needs to, at least for those in the top 5, still need to come in pit road Caden Anderson Racing teammates, Caden Anderson and also Cole Raz still need to come in. Same for Chris White, Tyler Kim, and Dan Lowther still needing to come to pit road. But talked about top 5. Well, we pushed down that Dan Lowther down to 6. Huff Vines has cracked the top 5.
And there is Tyler King right now on the lead lap. First truck on the lead lap in 9th. There is Dylan Huffines. He is in the 5th position. We're going to keep an eye on him in the Ghost Energy Sour Patch Chevrolet. Dilly with a good drive now. Lowther right also behind him in the 6th position. There's the interval as they come to the start-finish line. It is now 35 laps to go next time by with still super friends Caden Anderson, Cole Raz, winner, by the way, of a short distanced race called on time here at Gateway on Monday night for the Cup Series for Cole Raz. He is in 2nd. Samuel, Caden Anderson for that first win, and we still know they got to pit. Also, White and Kim have to pit. When that happens, did he play his cards right? Pulling that gamble, if you will. It is Dylan Huffines. We're watching him work off turn number 4 down the front straightaway. And we know that they're going to have to pit maybe within the next 10 laps, Samuel. And this is going to put Dylan Huffines possibly in the proverbial catbird seat for his first win this year in the Truck Series.
Yeah, 10 to 12 laps is the window that we've got approximated for these drivers needing to come into pit road. And for that of Caden Anderson, Cole Raz, the longer they stay out, the bigger gap that they are going to have to run down. And we talk about drivers, finding that middle ground of when to come into pit road. That Ryan Bloom, Tyler King, and Stephen O'Hare, they all went for that middle ground selection for themselves. But you look at, for that of Caden Anderson and Cole Raz, they might be going for the strategy of stay out as long as possible and hope for a yellow to strike. That is another, game plan that you can go for. That way you got the best tires possible at the end of this race. And the reason that they would do this is because these drivers were only given 3 extra tires in pit road. So if we get a late yellow, they're going to have the best tires at the end of the day.
Samuel, I am just looking at the information thanks to our statistics and stats from the Northwest Racing Series. If Dylan Huffines was to win this race, it would be his first career win in the Northwest Racing Series. That is counting in Cup and Truck Series competition with, mind you, his best finish in a Cup car for the Northwest was April 27th with a 3rd place finish at Charlotte at the Roval, and in a truck, Samuel, 4th in 2019 at Richmond. He has never won on the series. He is right now in the top 5. Somebody we followed for a couple of years on the Northwest Super Late Model Tour that used to run on Sunday nights.
Yeah, and for Dylan Huffines, this is a tall task for himself. He's got to hold off Beaver State Racing, Dennis Moore, Tyler King, and Stephen O'Hare. And also you can now add on that Ryan Bloom. Those 4 drivers are coming with a head of steam, and they are right on the tailpipes of this 20. Less than a second is the difference, but if yellow comes out, that changes everything because Dennis Moore and many others have already used 3 of their sets already. They cannot afford a yellow to come out for some. But I got to say, for Huffines, it's been a good try. It's been a great day for the 20. But as we watch this battle on screen of Frank Harris and Chris White, the battling for 2nd is about to be on here shortly.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that. There is Frank Harris is only 2 laps down on the racetrack. But here's the thing, Samuel. As we approach 30 laps to go, got to give an attaboy to Frank Harris in that Ford Performance 11. Even though he's 2 laps down, that's just recently happened because of pit stops. He had some hiccups in the beginning, but he has really persevered and had a good solid run to have a top 15 finish.
Yeah, had to use a faster pair, and it really set him back to go a lap down, and then coming into pit road has set him back another lap. So hoping that this race will get cleaned up and that there won't be any more yellows, so we can at least get one of his laps back for one of our leaders come to pit road. But, good run for that 11 machine. Other good runs, Stephen O'Hare in this 41. He's been doing a great job as they're closing in. This is the group I was talking about. This is 5th back to 9th, all in line.
Samuel, somebody that's not present tonight, but I'm thinking, could we possibly see Super Friends use his strategy, and that's Sean Brightsman. Could we see Caden Anderson and Cole Raz try to roll the dice and save what fuel they can to try to go to the finish of this race and win.
There is no way that they can save enough fuel to make it to the end.
No
They are
way.
banking on a yellow and hoping that they just have the raw speed. They know that strategy is the only way that they're going to beat out Beaver State Racing right now. The strength of the long run and short run for Beaver State Racing is just too strong. They just don't have the speed right now of the 37 and the 10 to beat out that of Tyler King, Dennis Moore, and O'Hare, and as well Paul Newton. They need a yellow to come out, and they desperately need it if they want an opportunity to win this race.
Might have got it that time. Tyler Kim got a bumper on the tailgate from Dennis Moore. Ryan Bloom says, excuse me, coming through. Tyler Kim up in the top shelf of the safer wall barrier into turn number 3. And all the while, there you see the difference, Samuel, as Chris White comes to the pit lane of new tires, fast repair if need be, versus old tires and the setup going away on handling.
We still have ourselves 3 drivers that have to come to pit road. Saw Tyler Kim get passed by all of those machines. He still needs to come to pit road, as well as our front 2. You call them the Super Friends. Caden Anderson, Cole Raz, both need to still come to pit road, and their window is shrinking. That pit window is within 5 laps that they are going to be forced into pit road.
Samuel, do you think they might come down for a splash and go possibly?
You got to take 4 tires. If you don't take 4 tires, you're not going to have an opportunity to try to run down these drivers. It's less than 30 laps. It's unlikely that you're going to be able to run down the rest of this field, but you have to take tires and fuel.
Anderson, cross the stripe, close it in on the home stretch of this event. And look at Anderson now. We're knowing he's got a pit. He has pulled away on an 8.5-second interval on his teammate, Cole Raz, who, by the way, oh, caution! There's the caution! That's what they needed. Just what the doctor ordered for Super Friends, and it's Jeff Stabnow in 24.
And Jeff Stabnow, something just broke on the 24. I know Jeff Stabnow runs with the VR system, and I think that might have been what broke for the 24. As we're going to take a replay here, he comes off the wall, but here's where the issue lies. He goes up, and then it just snaps on him. It just does not turn properly, goes straight, and hard contact, and then just sitting on the straightaway. That's when the yellow is thrown, and just like the doctor ordered, Caden Anderson, Cole Raz, the yellow they need. The rest of the field, those that have tires, you got to use them now if you want to compete with the 37 and the 10. But for Caden Anderson, this is the perfect formula for him to win this race. He has Cole Raz behind him. But the question is, will there be drivers in front of him to hold him off?
Samuel, as Anderson and Raz pit, obviously, we know that's coming. Could we see Huffines and other ones that were in the back also make a strategy to come to the pits and take on fresh tires to also be able to be just as fast as them that have just pitted? Because you got to think those guys have probably about a set of tires with about 20, 25 laps more tread than these new tires about to go on.
Huffines, Paul Newton, as believe many others, as John Ottbach, Troy Dackett. They're kind of coming to pit road. The question is, are they also going to come in for tires and others?
Everybody, Samuel, went in except Paul Newton. He is going for strategy here.
Well, that's one of the calls. I know a lot of drivers come in for damage repair a lot here tonight. There was a lot of question marks on if some drivers even had tires left. I don't think Paul Newton does, so he's forced to stay out. Wow. He's going to have 16-lap older tires than the rest of the field. He's going to be a sitting duck. But the question is, how hard can he hold off Caden Anderson and Cole Raz to give his teammates an opportunity? And this is exactly what Dennis Moore needed. He was off sequence, off really a lot here tonight. He's now going to be starting in 5th, right behind Tyler King, who's been the dominant Beaver State Racing driver.
So Paul Newton out of tires. He goes up 6 and advances to the lead. Caden Anderson pitted first and exited first. He's in 2nd. Cole Raz 3rd. Tyler King, Dennis Moore, all pitting. Ryan Bloom, who pitted, Stephen O'Hare, Dylan Huffines, Tyler Kim, Audenbacher, guys, Troy Daggett that pitted earlier also come in on strategy. And it looks like Aaron Cooper is in. Chris White is still on track. So we're looking, Samuel, at about, we have 11 trucks on the lead lap, if you will, when we settle in for under 25 to go.
and just got a report, knew that there was some type of issue, and there's been a lot of issues throughout yesterday and today on the iRacing server, and it struck the 24, just took him out of the sim, and that's why we saw the 24 just go straight and had no control over what happened. You hate to see it, but this is, we talk about week 13. The reason why the trucks were given the off last week and they weren't racing, and that's exactly what this week kind of brings, is the unknown of server issues, and sometimes drivers have been having issues a lot yesterday and today, and they strike one of our own.
Yeah, Samuel, we had a exciting Crown Jewel E Late Model Stock Car Series race last night at Myrtle Beach, and John and yourself and I were on the call, and then all of a sudden, just after halfway, something happened that was similar to what we had happen at Darlington in June of 2020 when the Northwest Cup Series was there, and the server crashed and people disappeared. And well, Northwest, they red flagged for about 45, 50 minutes to get everybody back in. That did not happen last night. And of course, South Carolina native Mr. Brooks was able to get the win. I know he was very, very excited about that win at Myrtle Beach. And of course, called at halfway, just after halfway, that decision was made. But hopefully we can get this one to the finish. But that is such a tough break for Jeff Stab now.
It really is, but it gives an opportunity for Troy Daggett to get back onto the lead lap. Going to be 11 drivers on the lead lap as we're getting ready to go green. And Wesley lights are off. Paul Newton,
oh boy,
he is going to be the sitting duck, but I like the fact that he placed himself right in front of Cole Raz. If he's going to give Tyler Kim an opportunity, if for some reason Paul Newton can't get a good launch, at least he'll be stalling out the 10.
I'm thinking to myself, Paul, Samuel, how many laps do you think Paul Newton's on in tires? Probably about 16, 18 laps more than they are.
It's going to be 16 laps more on the tires. That is the difference for himself.
So here's the deal. He might be able to hang with them a little bit, but eventually he's going to get swallowed up. We're going to see what happens here. It'll be 21 laps to go, but the field comes back to the Geico restart zone after the 6th yellow flag, bottleneck traffic behind them. They all get back going, though. And Newton did exactly, Samuel, what he needed to do to stay in the lead. Raz around Anderson, around Moore. They're back in turn 1.
Little bit of contact at that 37, but what's helping right now is the fact that Tyler King keeps pushing Kane Anderson, and Anderson now going to do this do-si-do, gets by the 27. Dennis Moore now on the pressure. He has to get by this 37 now if he wants an opportunity. That's why he's bumping and getting moving with the rookie behind.
Tyler Kim in the wall. He had contact with Dylan Huffines. Caution is out. Correction, that's Ryan Bloom. Ryan Bloom and Tyler Kim have trucks, Samuel, that look almost exactly identical. And the yellow flag is out. He had some help as he was battling with Dylan Huffines. And with 20 to go, we go back under the yellow flag. Oh, and by the way, my over-under is lost now, Samuel. You're still in it. This is yellow flag number 7. You had 8 tonight.
And you're going to see the aggressiveness from the 20. Dylan Huffines just goes diving down low. Bloom wasn't expecting it and just taking out one another. And for Ryan Bloom, who had already used the fast repair, hates to see that type of damage collected on the 25. He'll have to come into pit road, get those damage repairs, and as well going to fall further back. But yeah, Tyler Kim and also that of Ryan Bloom tonight, both rocking some red, white, and blue on their truck. So, you know, sometimes it does trick us up.
Certainly does. Huffines is on the pit road, by the way. Gotta wonder if he had damage on his speed the Ghost Energy Sour Patch number 20. And what a restart there. I'll tell you what, Samuel, Caden Anderson was bonsaiing left and right. Made that move. I'm surprised, though, that Paul Newton is still in the top 5.
Well, I mean, with the older tires, yes, you were underpowered. Too. But yeah, he was saved by the caution, but at the same time, he was just trapped. He had nowhere to really go on the outside. He was being pushed. He was pushing other drivers. It just was one of those things where, yes, you're 16 laps difference, but you're only about 2 to 3 tenths off of the drivers around you. Doesn't mean you're going to be losing instantly every single position. It just means when you come off the corner, and also on the entry of the corner, you're going to be losing those spots. And that caution that came out certainly kept Newton in his position in 4th place. This is going to be hurting at least Stephen O'Hare in 6th. But you look at, you know, some of the other drivers up front, such as Tyler King, Dennis Moore, gives them another chance. And for Cole Raz, he's trying to go for his 4th win of the season. And it's looking very promising as we're less than 20 laps to go.
And Caden Anderson, Samuel, you got to realize he's hungry. And we have seen several battles where it's Super Friends versus Super Friends of Raz versus Anderson. Could we set ourselves up for something like that again? We know they'll put it to the whip. They'll battle each other to the depths of the finish line, if you will, to decide who wins this thing. And obviously, Cole Raz is trying to pull off a sweep. He won on Monday night with the Northwest Racing Series Cup program here at a time-shortened race, mind you, at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And now, Caden Anderson right there in second, Samuel, and he is looking for that first win of the year on this truck series.
Yeah, Caden Anderson's going for the win. But yeah, I mean, talking about the spectacular runs that we've seen from Cole Raz and Caden Anderson, if they've got space, they'll put on a show. And that's what if they don't have space, they're going to help whatever driver's in first place. And what I mean by putting on a show is they'll play with one another. They'll get side by side. They'll make it look like it's competitive, but they're giving up when it comes to the end of the race. We've seen that multiple times from Caden Anderson and Cole Raz. They'll make it look like a show on screen, but they are playing little games as well between one another.
Yeah, these guys are good friends. But of course, like Oregon, Washington for the driver, of course, of Cole Raz, Yakima, Washington for Caden Anderson as well. Dennis Moore, good solid run for him in the points and the race. He's in third. Lights are off on the pace car. When they come back next time around to the Geico restart zone, it will be for real. It'll be a 16-lap shootout. Katie bar the virtual door, Samuel. I think we're in for a barn burner here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All the pressure is on Dennis Moore and Tyler King on this next restart. They're going to be in line behind the 10. They've got to get rolling immediately. Paul Noon might be holding up that of Stephen O'Hare, but if Dennis Moore cannot get a good launch and try to pressure Caden Anderson in these first 3 laps and get by the 37, Cole Raz is going to be gone. And there's not much that can catch up to this 10, especially in this early in a run. The 10 has been quick on the short runs. Luckily, we don't have a long run anymore. It's all about making it to the end of these 17 laps. It's going to be 16 laps. But Dennis Moore is going to be the driver to watch out for and how aggressive he wants to be.
16 to go. Lights off for the pace car when they cut back to the green flag of the Geico restart zone. Cole Raz, Caden Anderson, Dennis Moore, Paul Newton, Tyler King, top 5. Stephen O'Hare, Tyler Kemp, John Ottenbacher, Dylan Huffines, and Troy Daggett. Ryan Bloom and Chris White also in the lead lap of 12 trucks. They come to the Geico restart zone. They're side by side as they come to the line. Super Friends, Anderson, hungry for his first truck win of the year to the outside. He's got help with points leader Dennis Moore. Raz under attack in turn number 1.
Big thing there, Raz understood. He's damaged, he's wounded, he doesn't think he can defend for a win, but he certainly can be a roadblock, which he's been in the first half of this race, and that's exactly what he was given the game plan. Defend, hold off, and don't let Dennis Moore, Tyler King by, and let Anderson win this race.
And now they play blocker off of turn number 4 with now Anderson leading. Moore takes it all the way up to the safer wall barrier. He's got about a half a truck tailgate there on Raz. Now Moore powers to the inside. He can't take King with him, but they're going to go door to door for P2 out of turn number 2.
Talked about it. You got to make the pass and overdoes it. Gets onto the throttle, throws it away. It's now down to Tyler King, who's going to be on the charge. The 21. Now he needs to make the pass immediately. Dives it down low, and he might make a little bit of a bump.
Super Friends versus Beaver State. 1 out. That was Dennis Moore. He falls back to 8th, but he's climbing back up the pylon while that goes on. It's Anderson gone. He's holding off now with Raz and King 1 and 2 and 3 into 1.
Dennis Moore over the radio said sorry. I think he's recognizing he might have held off. He had a great opportunity to make that pass, and now it's Raz with the best shot to hold off Tyler King, because King needs to make this pass this lap or the next, or Anderson's going to be too far out for the rest of this race.
Samuel also keep an eye on that 20 truck. I'm watching scoring. He's getting quicker and quicker and quicker. He's moved into the top 5. He's got to go after O'Hare. Once he clears O'Hare, he will be in this battle for the top 3. Anderson, Raz, King, single file. The conga line, 13 to go out of 2.
And that last lap you were talking about for that Dylan Huffines, when he was flying, he put down the fastest lap of the night for that 20 machine. But I think he just might be too far back. He's made the pass for 4th, but we're right on board with Tyler King. And he needs to make this move because Cole Raz is damaged. He's wounded, but he's doing a great job sitting and parking himself right in the center of the track and letting the 37 go as the 10 just plays blocker. But here's the best opportunity for Tyler King.
King inside Beaver State Racing. Here comes Super Friends for 2nd. He slipped. Raz up the hill. Here comes King. He'll say, excuse me, coming through. They make a little contact. Now they run each other up the racetrack. King clears Raz. He'll now go to 2nd as they go to 3.
But how much of these tires are left on the 21? Does he have enough speed to try to catch up to Caden Anderson? If we had another 5 laps tacked onto this, the 21 would be my favorite to watch out for, but this landed right in that limbo zone of Caden Anderson's fast in the short run. Tyler King can be quick on the short run, but much faster the longer the race goes on. And Tyler King, half a second back with 11 laps to go.
And Samuel, we also saw in the back view, Dylan Huffines and Stephen O'Hare continuing to battle side by side. O'Hare now to the 4th spot as here comes Tyler King. He makes a run into 3 and 4. Dennis Moore tried it for the Beaver State clan. He got loose off the corner battling Raz. King cleared Raz. He's now on his ascent to run down Caden Anderson. It's cut down to almost a 1/4 of a second with Anderson leading in 10 to go in 2.
You can catch up to him, but do you have the tires to make the pass? That's going to be the question for this 21. Again, both that of Caden Anderson and Tyler King came into pit road. Anderson had to use a second of repair, optional repair, but he still had enough gap where he feels like he's got the speed in this 37 to hold off King. Raz did everything in his power to hold off King for as long as possible, but it's done. It's all on speed. 3/10 as they come across the line with 9 laps to go. Here's the battle for 4th.
And that's that battle we've been telling you intently happening between Stephen O'Hare and Dylan Huffines. He is stuck up in a rock and a hard place on the outside lane. He is boxed in by a couple of Beaver State drivers of Dennis Moore, also climbing back to get to the top 5. While this goes on, O'Hare, Huffines working in the corner, 8 to go for Caden Anderson. These drivers work their way off the corner. It is KA looking for his first truck win of the year, Samuel, if he can pull it off. But now Huffines clears by the Beaver State drivers. Can he run down Rats for 3rd going to 1?
Also, the question is, who will become the first to get their win this season? Tyler King also looking for his first win this season. And as well, Wesley, if a caution comes out, that could change the aspect of this race.
That's right.
With 8 laps coming to 7, Tyler King needs this race to stay green.
And Tyler King has reeled in the leader, Caden Anderson. Anderson does not have Cole Raz to help him block anymore. Super Friends versus Beaver State. Now it's for the win. 7 to go at Gateway. They're off of turn number 2.
When they started the restart, it was that of Caden Anderson and Cole Raz trying to defend that of Tyler King and that of Dennis Moore. Well, we've lost that of Cole Raz. We've lost Dennis Moore. It's now just 2 drivers dueling it out to try to get their first win of the season. The little bobble through 3 and 4. Tyler King's got his best opportunity here, Wesley.
He had that little slip off the corner, Samuel, as you mentioned, that Tyler King just can't capitalize on it. Anderson stays on the throttle, pounds the gas on the outside lane, back into 1 and 2. They'll hug the middle groove. King tries to find the clean air from the dirty air. This works off of 2 with 6 to go.
And now Caden Anderson, he's made that one slip up. He's shown the chink in the armor. He's been so picture perfect on trying not to show any mistakes all night long. But Tyler King recognizing, I just got to be right there, right on the back bumper, and he's right on the bumper, but not close enough. He's got to be careful of the exit of the corners, Wesley. Those are key to victory. Don't get too antsy. Don't get into the throttle too soon. You could throw this race away off of 1 exit.
Field makes their way past the Geico restart zone. It is 5 laps to go. The battle for the lead. We're watching it intently. It's off of turn 2.
5 laps to go. Kane Anderson, Tyler King. Did King use up too much of his tires to just get to the back bumper? I mean, he was a half a second back, even further back than that. He had a duel with Cole Raz. He had to try to get by his teammate of Dennis Moore. He had to work so hard. Well, Kane Anderson's just been in clean air, being patient, letting the track come to him. But with 4 laps to go, Tyler King's only got just a handful of opportunities to try to take this lead.
4 remaining, and there goes Anderson on the bottom of the racetrack. King will follow. 2 truck lengths, maybe the lead to the backstretch now.
And if Tyler King wants an opportunity to win this race, he's got to get side by side with Caden Anderson with at least 3 laps to go, maybe 2 laps to go. If he gets that last lap, the only way to win this race is just to wipe out. Absolutely knock that 37 around. But here we go. Anderson, not a clean exit at turn 4, given an opportunity with 3 laps to go.
Me and you were thinking the same thing, Samuel. I was thinking bump and run also. I was also thinking maybe Tyler King backed off and he said, okay, I got to get one more shot at him here. To the back straightaway. They're still single file going to 3.
And Caden Anderson, he's made that 1 mistake. He's made 2 now. If he makes any more, Tyler King is now closed in the gap. It's less than 2/10 in the interior 3 and 4, coming to 2 laps to go. And Tyler King, Wesley, looks like he's setting up for a white flag pass.
2 to go. He is trying everything he can to stay within the crosshairs of the leader, Caden Anderson. Anderson looking for his first win of the year. Tyler King also. They're in turn number 2. Nobody has moved an inch now as they continue to play 1 and 2 off the backstretch.
Bad exit from Tyler King, and he's going to lose ground there as Caden Anderson pulls away. Big thing for Caden Anderson. He's just able to get through the exit of the corner so smoothly. But here we go. Only 2 more opportunities for Tyler King.
And time is running out. Here comes now the opportunity for 4 corners and 2 straightaways. White flag goes in the air from the flag stand. The CRN 1 to go. Final time into turn number 1. It is Anderson. It is King. Who will it be on the other side as they go to turn 2 for the final time?
Tyler King has to be smooth here. Just get a good exit and be close enough. Out of the exit, though, he's slowly chipping away, but he's over 3/10 back. There's just too big of a gap going into turn 3.
He cannot dive it in there. No chance at a bump and run unless Anderson slips on his own. King, 1 more shot off the corner. He does mount a charge to the inside, loses the run. First win of the year finally for Caden Anderson. Super Friends versus Beaver State 1 and 2. And when it's said and done, Caden Anderson from Yakima, Washington, who picked up 5 wins last year, has struggled the first 12 weeks of the year, or 11 weeks of the year, Samuel, has finally broke through and has won here tonight at Gateway.
There's so many drivers that we've seen go multiple wins per season that have struggled to get there first. Caden Anderson was always on the top of that list, and after 12 races, finally can say that he is a winner of season 9 for the Northwest Truck Series. And what a win it was. Had to wait for a caution, needed some luck. It struck with Dan West, with that Just Stab now having computer issues, and then Cole Raz. Big thanks to that 10 for holding off that of Dennis Moore, Tyler King as long as he did. Had to make those drivers use their tires, and it's the 37 in victory lane.
And the celebration begins now with the Northwest High Five salute as a couple of trucks come piling in now on Caden Anderson of the Harvest Chevrolet. There goes a nice shot there from Frank Harris, Dennis Moore, Troy Daggett. The virtual circle demolition derby on the front stretch, and again Caden Anderson getting it done. By the way, 7 caution flags. Samuel, you do win tonight on the over-under. I was out by 1. You held in by under 1 at 8. And by the way, 7 cautions, and there were 12 trucks that finished on the lead lap. Here's your results. Caden Anderson picking up the win. Tyler King is second. Cole Raz third. Dylan Huffines, man, what a charge he mounted, but I still think that contact and that late race caution with Ryan Bloom took him out of contention. He finishes 4th. Dennis Moore 5th. Stephen O'Hare 6th. Ryan Bloom 7th. John Ottenbacher 8th. Paul Newton, Troy Daggett. Solid run, Samuel, for drivers that are normally mired in the back or out a top 10.
Some drivers we expect to have some better runs, but caught up with issues. Chris White going to be in 11th place. Tyler Kim, a great run for himself in 12th, with Aaron Cooper in 13th. Greg Karras takes 14th position with that of Dan Lowther in 15th. that of Brian Reynolds takes 16th away, as all the drivers that have had the struggles of either internet or just troubles on track with going to see that of Kevin Smith in 12th. Ron Hunter in 18th. Toby Ritters, the birthday boy, only able to get 19th for the 23 machine, with that of Chris Kamari in 20th. Finishing out our 26 drivers, going to be in 21st, that of Bj Tedrick. Angel Ortega going to be in 22nd. Carl Burke in 23rd. And Jeff Stabnow taking that last position for himself, as the other two drivers not even able to start the race, as we had 24 officially hit the grid. And Wesley, what a race it was.
Yeah, it certainly was, man. It did not disappoint here. I think if they had, maybe one more shot at him, I think that maybe things might have been different. We know Tyler King is hungry for a win, but we also got to know Caden Anderson wanting to win, and he finally does it here tonight for Super Friends here at WWT Raceway. Coming up, finish line, post-race wrap-up, we will grab a word with the podium of Anderson, King, and Raz when we return. This is iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network for the Northwest Racing Series. Hey, welcome back to WWT Raceway. WWT stands for Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway, Madison, Illinois, outside of St. Louis. Virtual iRacing done. And when it's finished, Caden Anderson finally in victory lane again for the 2022 season of the Northwest Racing Series trucks. Cole Raz off to the airport after finishing on the podium in third. So he's unable to grab a top three finish. So we'll go right back to the runner-up of the Beaver State, number 21. Tyler King, your take of this race. You tried so hard. You run out of time. You use up tires. It was Caden Anderson just that strong on that final restart for the win.
Well, they say clean air is king. And, yeah, he just had just enough to keep it ahead of me. We're pretty darn even there at the end. Yeah, I pushed as hard as I could. I wanted that W real bad, but just came up one spot short.
I mean, Tyler, what a strong run by the team in general. You guys looked like you had one of the best setups all night long. But how much confidence can you take away from this race, knowing as the whole team, you guys looked strong all night long?
Yeah, it was a great showing for Beaver State Racing. Dennis put a lot of work into this setup. Our first version was okay. We ran a race on Tuesday and felt it needed a little more adjusting, and he went to work on Wednesday night, and I popped in late today. Didn't get any practice other than my qualifying laps, and I just ran the race setup and put down a good lap. I was like, all right, buddy, you got something real special tonight. And I think it showed. All four of us had great runs.
Tyler, was there ever any time that maybe you might have been thinking of using the proverbial bump and run to get around Anderson if he had to do it?
Yeah, I mean, if I got close enough, I was definitely willing to. I want to get another win in this series, and I want to do it the real way. I don't want to win on fuel mileage this time. I want to win, head to head.
Hey, man, well, good job tonight. Beaver State Racing, awesome showing for your guys. Of course, Stephen O'Hare, Dennis Moore, and yourself, Tyler. Thank your sponsors, man, and we'll see you next week at Nashville Super Speedway.
Yeah, definitely got to thank American Touch-Up Paint, MWM Countertops, my cousin's company. Check them out. They're down in Southern Oregon. They do amazing work. Nicole Bryan Photography, Peel's California Mandarins. I said oranges last week, my mistake. And LSRTV, Jeff, Sean, everybody that puts in the hard work to get this league going every single week. Really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Runner-up for the Beaver State Racing Team, number 21, Tyler King. He'll try to go to Nashville and look for that first win of the year and picking up his first win of the year. Finally, tonight, driver the number, of course, 37, Harvest Chevrolet entry, the driver out of Yakima, Washington. Caden Anderson, Clean Air, the benefactor to be there at the end. Your take of winning this race. And how about Super Friends, Cole Raz, giving you a little bit of a bumper blocker, if you will, down the stretch. That's what friends are for, and teammates as well, right?
Yeah, I think we had a really good truck tonight. I don't think it was as good as a short run car or truck as Tyler and them guys had. They had a really good short run setup, but I feel like there on the long run we were quite a bit better. And so our strategy was just to run it out on fuel and just pray for a caution basically, and hopefully at the end of the race we could hold it off. And exactly what happened. Luckily, not sure what brought out the caution, but we'll take it. I think Clean Air was key, and yeah, Cole, I think he had a little bit of damage, so he probably held up Tyler a little bit more than Tyler probably wanted it to be. But overall, I feel like we had a pretty decent truck, and just couldn't make mistakes when I was right there and Tyler's right behind me.
Yeah, I mean, Caden, a strong run for yourself. The yellow that actually came out was Jeff Stabnow having server issues and his car going straight in turn number 1 and just bringing out the yellow there. But gotta say, as a team for you and as well for Cole, you guys looked perfect out there with teamwork. How much was talking going on, trying to figure out how to plan out that restart there at the end?
Not a lot at the end there. I think a lot of the strategy came after I got turned around early on. I'm not sure if Dennis just didn't know he was not clear or what, but we got turned early on there, and it kind of flipped our race upside down. So we had to do some strategy there to try to get up front and be up front. And unfortunately, the caution did come out, and we were able to pull Tyler off.
Hey, Caden, final question, and we can segue also into your sponsor so we can jump off the air here tonight at WWT Raceway. Last year, right out of the gate, pretty strong winning. Took 11 weeks to finally find victory lane tonight. What can you say about the competition of this truck series this year?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great guys in here that have a ton of speed, and unfortunately, I think I've had a lot of bad luck also. So to be able to finally get a win and prove that we're still capable of winning races is pretty cool. I've had 4 poles this year, and so I feel like Cole's wins have reflected our speed as qualifying and race. Unfortunately, I was able to get one tonight.
Sponsors.
Yeah, I want to thank Harvest Chevrolet, Studio 10 Wraps, and PTI Trucking.
Another win, first-time winner again this year for 2022. He won many times last year, but it's Caden Anderson finally getting back to victory lane. That'll wrap up the finish line, post-race wrap-up. Finish line, of course, every Wednesday, Fox Sports Radio, Spreaker, and on the Community Radio Network, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Samuel, your final take of things, a big win for Caden Anderson. I love the battle between Beaver State versus Super Friends. Could we possibly see a friendly rivalry happening here down the stretch and not even in a run to the playoffs yet?
I mean, it's certainly something that's carried over, I think, throughout all of last season into this season. You think about the end of the last season, how Beaver State Racing really started to find their groove, and then, Caden Anderson Racing really has always been strong. They're always going to be a driver and team that is going to be a threat. Beaver State Racing, they're starting to get stronger each and every week we go into. And, even hearing it from Tyler King, I mean, the team as a whole really stuck out throughout the night. I mean, 4 out of our top 10 drivers were all Beaver State Racing drivers, with Tyler King in 2nd, and then also having that of Dennis Moore in 5th, O'Hare 6th, and then Paul Newton in 9th. Strong run from a team that really had an opportunity to go, really finishing 1, 2, 3, 4 at one moment. If that yellow from Jeff Stabnow never came out, Caden Anderson and Cole Raz, they had a horseshoe getting that yellow to come out to save their race.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, that definitely changed the entire outcome of the race. 7 yellow flags, and of course that one with Jeff Stab now put them back in the catbird seat to look for the win, and that'll wrap it up here tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway. As always, follow the Northwest Racing Series on Facebook at LSRTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and at CRN Sports also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember, the next event for the series after this week is next Monday night at Nashville Super Speedway for the Cup and the Truck next Thursday. For Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, myself, Wesley Outland, all of the crew on the Northwest Racing Series, thanks to Jeff Stabnow and Charles Wooten for Rocket Media and the Live Sim Racing TV Community Radio Network Productions. Be good to one another. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's on to Nashville next week. Thank you for tuning in, watching, and listening to the Northwest Racing Series. When it's said and done, Yakima, Washington's Caden Anderson, another winner this year on the Truck Series.